All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. So if you could please make your ways to your seats. All right, you guys are doing a great job. Well, welcome out. We are Jack and Kaylee Plard. We are the meeting hosts for the evening. So before we get a chance to introduce the speaker, we just want to make sure that we set some ground rules really quick. So if you guys could please make sure, just triple check that your phone is on silent, stun, whatever mode it needs to be on so that it doesn't make noise while Dave is speaking. And then also make sure that you guys have plenty of room for pen and paper for taking notes. And then my wife is really quick going to go over Dave's background before we bring him up.
Yes, thank you. So we're glad you're all here this evening to hear from one of our favorite speakers, Mr. Dave T. Roller. We actually had the privilege of being connected to Dave about 5 years ago now through a friend of a friend. And we went through a process to be able to qualify for the mentorship of he and his wife. Dave actually has a background in personal finance, and Lisa, his wife, has a background as a chief operations officer for a nonprofit. About 25 years ago, she was able to walk away from that career because they tripled her income through this business opportunity. And today they're highly sought after speakers. They build their business all over the country. And actually, speaking of, currently they hail from Tampa, Florida. So Dave is being very kind by being up here with us this evening.
We're very lucky to have him.
That's correct. So you're going to learn so much from Dave tonight. Make sure you have an attentive ear because he will equip you for the potential next step in this process.
So if you could, please help me welcome Mr. Dave T. Roller.
Good evening. I was trying to figure out who they were talking about. I'm like, wonder who's going up there. You guys having a good day? That's cool. I was getting ready tonight. You ever get a paper cut? Should have seen the outfit I had on before. Now it's red. Kind of an issue. Is it okay if we have a little bit of fun? Because this is my way of letting you calm down so you can relax, so you can be educated properly. Is that cool? I like to talk a little bit and have you guys talk to me back. Is that cool? All right, so we're getting this. This is good. So tonight we're going to have a little bit of fun. This is not all about the Dave Show. This is all about creating assets that create income so that you can live a lifestyle that you truly desire. And I was the guy telling people that this wouldn't work and you shouldn't do it. That's why I'm here to talk to you about why it works. Interesting, isn't it? When you see proof, it's a little bit difficult to go, wait a minute, if that lifestyle is available, I kind of might like that lifestyle, you know? Because all I saw growing up was people that were going to work, trading time for money, always wanting more money and not having enough time. Anybody else relate to that? And I'm thinking, wouldn't it be cool to live a debt-free lifestyle and to be able to not have to fight about money all the time? And the reason I share that with you is because I feel like I'm up on a platform, because I guess I am. Rather come down here and talk to you guys a little bit. Is that okay? So just don't make me feel uncomfortable by walking too close to me, okay? So growing up, my parents were divorced when I was 3. And this is not a sob story because it gets better. And so my mom raised us on my brother and I. Now, my brother is twice my size, so you know who ate all the food in the house. You're like, why are you the size you are? He got all of it. I tried to get some, and he'd squish me. So Mom raised us on a, they call them secretaries back then, a secretary's income. And when I add this adjective, you'll know what kind of money we had. She was a church secretary. So she raised my brother and I on the church secretary's income. So guess what we never had? Money. And so there was a point in my life where I was like, I hated money because we never had any, and we always heard the part about, I can't afford it. And I thought, you know what? Once we get on the other side of this, I want to be able to say, I want to be able to never say, I can't afford it. You know what I mean? Because when you have an experience growing up and you want to have a different experience, it's like, doggone it, I'm going to find a way to live a different lifestyle. And I found that way. I wasn't looking for it, came my way. So tonight is going to, that was a little bit loud, sorry about that. Tonight, I'm going to give you a little bit of our background as to why I wasn't looking for what I'm going to share with you tonight. And then I'm going to go through a little bit of a review of some of the things you guys have already learned up to this point. So this is really step 3 of a multi-step process that we take people through because of the fact that we know that through mentorship, we can help people create assets that create passive income. But we want to make sure that we have the right mindset before we just plug anybody into a system that we know that works. See, because we used to do this where we'd allow just anybody in, but we realized that we're wasting so much of our time because people didn't appreciate the mentorship. But when you know the fact that what you have and the process that we're a part of creates results, creates income. Because I remember as I was putting together financial planning clientele, I was working 60 to 80 hours a week, and I run into a gentleman by the name of Bruce Bush, and when I met Bruce, 6 months after I met him, he walks away from a real estate investment company that he owned. He was working 10 to 15 hours a week in this business, and he exceeded a 6-figure income. And I was like, that's a nice lifestyle. You know what I mean? And the thing that he said to me is he said, Dave, don't you teach people to diversify their assets in financial planning? I said, well, that's standard operating procedure. And he said, why wouldn't you diversify your income streams? And I thought I was never taught that. But it sure sounds attractive. I mean, if you've got a 6-figure income, wouldn't it be nice to have a backup 6-figure income? What are you going to do with the extra? You got it. So that's what we're here to talk about, because at some point in your conversation with the person that invited you out tonight, you had a conversation about lifestyle. Because most people ask you, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? And what happens is, if you're anything like me, you were told, find something you enjoy doing and do that for the rest of your life. Well, I went to Western Michigan University, so you know that I had 2 majors. One was drinking, the other one was chasing women. And I'm like, I can get paid for this? But do you see the logic? Typically what happens is when people are giving advice, a lot of times people don't have the financial backing to be the one giving the advice, if that makes sense. And so I was told by somebody that didn't make a lot of money that I should find something that I enjoy doing and do that for the rest of my life, because then you won't work a day in your life. And I'm like, yeah, but you still got to go somewhere for 8 hours and do something and make it a paycheck. So it sounds like a great saying, and you want to sing a song after that or something. But in practice, it doesn't quite work out the same way. All right? So I don't know if you guys ever experienced this, but as I was growing up, I had this great big picture of what I wanted to do, the lifestyle that I wanted to live. Not that I had to be a multimillionaire, but I just wanted to live good. Some people say live big. I just want to live good. Okay? Anybody else like the idea of living good? Living big? Okay? There was a challenge, though. For most of us, what happens is we get started in something, and that's the amount of money that we make. And so either we find ourselves in a position where either we have to figure out a way to increase that circle of income to get out here, or what we do is we find ways to justify where we're at, and instead of coming up to here, we've got this dotted line where we start to justify, and maybe we get down to here and we're satisfied, or we just accept whatever comes our way, and then we decide to design our lifestyle within the income that we're paid, and then we say things like, I really love what I do. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you enjoy what you do for a living, that's not a slam on you. But there's a lot of people that justify what they do when in actuality, it would be really nice for them to have more income. And it's almost like sometimes talking about making more money, there's something wrong with that. So let me go back to the beginning. I'm going to share a little bit of our background. That's something that normally my wife would do, but she told me that we're not doing this. And so, like Kaylee said, 19 years ago, she walked away from her job as Chief Operations Officer because we tripled her income through this business, because I wasn't looking for it, and she said, we're not doing it. And so I wanted to make sure you had a chance to meet her. Are we good to go? That's not her, but that is her. She sent me these pictures. I'm like, hey, usually you come up and talk in the beginning. Why don't you send me something? So she sent me, and then she sent me that. What are those sandals or oofas or woofas or they're really comfortable, I guess. What are they? Slides. We're going with it. We're going with it. She likes purple, as you can kind of tell. So that's one end of Lisa. That's the other end of Lisa. So she'll send me pictures or she'll FaceTime with me and she's like, guess what I'm doing? And it's always in this position. I'm working. And inevitably there's one of these because she calls those evergreens now that all she sees is palm trees. So that's Lisa. Now you got our background. Really what it was is I'm a control freak and I want to control the time and income. Anybody else relate to that? So you guys talked about a lifestyle that you wanted to accomplish, right? And you said there's a lifestyle we want to accomplish, and doing what I'm doing, within the next 5 years, we won't be able to accomplish that particular lifestyle, right? So you guys want to help me out with what is some of the lifestyles that you were looking to accomplish? What were some of those things that you wanted to accomplish? Say again? Travel? Get out of debt. See, 2 people talked to me, and there's probably about 150 people here right now. So I'm just still trying to get you guys to warm up and cool down at the same time. So cool off a little bit and just, say again? Dream homes. Take care of parents. You guys are all rich. I was just looking to make $200 a month just so I could pay off debt quicker. Seriously, that's what I was looking for. I thought if we can make $400 a month, I could put $200 towards student loan debt. Anybody got student loan debt? And $200 toward travel fund. Because that's the one thing that we always wanted to do, is we wanted to be able to travel anytime we wanted to. Right? And it's wild because all of a sudden we're given the opportunity to see if we can qualify for partnership with this mentorship team. And suddenly it's like, I talk to people about, I think this opportunity is coming my way, and people would get negative about it. Oh, you better be careful. It's probably one of those things. I'm like, did you do 1 ounce of research before you opened your mouth? You know what I mean? Everybody's always got an opinion. Because all I got to do is Google it. I'll find what I should think next. Google. What should I think next? Enter. It's amazing what comes up. There's all kinds of stuff. And then you got to choose. I'm like, I don't know how to choose. I just want to know what to think. So today I've seen a lot of confusion. I mean, in financial planning, you see a lot of confusion. People are like, what should I do with my money? They don't know. Because I got this guy at the office, and he's in clinical depression, and he's telling me that I should do with this money. And then I've got this person over here who's a relative. He's Uncle Frank, but he declared bankruptcy, and he's telling me what to do with money. Anybody ever run across that? And I don't know about you. I didn't want to have to think about money. And for most people, they're thinking about money like way too much. All you have to do is look at how people drive, and you can see that they're thinking about money way too much. Have you seen anybody drive lately? They're cutting people off left and right, and then they tell you that you're number one when you just got passed. And I try to give hand signals back because they pass me, they cut me off, and I'm thinking, and he tells me that I'm number one. I'm like, no, I'm number two. You're number one. And I keep thinking that they're getting the message, but I'm not so sure. But you know that they're driving that way because they're stressed about money. And I love it because a lot of times people say, well, money's not that important to me. And I go, you know what? I would believe you, but you're lying because you're going to spend 8 to 10 hours chasing after that idol tomorrow. People don't like when I use words like that. It's like, well, I got my priorities. And I'm like, yeah, me too. Going to Florida tomorrow. So when you get out of work tomorrow, I'll be landing. And I say that not to be arrogant. I say that because that's the fruit of receiving mentorship that allows us to live a different lifestyle than most people. Because I was told this wasn't possible. And I go, well, since I've consulted with your brain, and your brain says it's not possible, I'm going to consult with the brain that says it's possible, and they'll help me, and I'm going to go put a lifestyle together that I truly want to live. Because all those things that you mentioned, I wanted to have a home, I didn't want to have debt, I wanted to be able to provide for my wife the level of living that she desired. And you know what the challenge of that is? Each time the level gets met, there's another level still. It's crazy. She told me we're not doing this. The money starts coming in, and she takes over as CEO. And I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, well, I kind of like this passive income thing. I said, you weren't on board in the beginning. She goes, yeah, but I see it now. Anybody ever experienced this where you get a job and it pays you a certain amount and you're like, well, that's not enough to be able to do what I want to do? You ever have that? And so you have a choice. You can do what most people do, and that is justify where you're at and not make any changes, or you can realize the fact that you can have an opportunity to qualify for partnership and a mentorship team, receive mentorship from someone who knows how to create a passive income, and you can live different than other people will live. How many people like the idea of having complete control of time and income? Let me share with you how it's not possible, okay? How it's not possible one way and how it is possible another way. You have to understand, what I'm going to share with you right now, I'm not down on jobs, because you have to remember all of us have been taught to trade time for income, right? The only challenge that I have with jobs is they consume your time and they don't pay you enough. But I'm not down on jobs because most all of us went to school. I went to 4.5 years to get a 4-year degree. A lot of it was a blur. Did I mention one of my majors was drinking? Did you get that? Finance was in there somewhere, but we got out eventually, okay? So 4.5 years to get a 4-year degree in finance, and I was taught the same thing. I was taught, go to school, get an education, yeah. Where's the part about controlling you, owning you, being your own boss? Anybody like the idea of business ownership where you can own yourself? All right, so let's talk about this, because chances are, somewhere along the lines, you guys were taught about Robert Kiyosaki and the cash flow quadrant? Okay, just checking. Yeah, you're right, Josh. That heat is booming right about now. Yep, you told me too. He's like, man, I walked back there, I said, it's kind of like a refrigerator. He goes, you don't want me to turn that heat on? And I'm like, yeah, maybe just a little bit. Yep, I get it now. I get it. All right, so what goes down here? Yep. Okay, so here's the deal. This side over here is the active-based income, and that's where we trade time for income. On that side of the quadrant, we're limited to 24 hours in a day, right? So here's the challenge, because it doesn't line up with my values, because my values say that what I wanted to do is I wanted to be able to spend more time with my family. But yet, if I want to make more money in that system, what do I have to do automatically? I got to spend more time. Active-based, 96% of us know this. So when I started getting educated over here on creating a big business, guess what my E-minded people were telling me all around me? Doesn't work. Sounds too good to be true. Be careful. They're probably trying to take advantage of you, right? And let me give you an idea as to why you're here, because you're going through a vetting process to find out if you have the right mindset to be able to receive mentorship. And so I'm like, why would I want to go through that process? Well, on the other side of that is mentorship that could help you create a full-time income in your non-productive time. So I'm looking at Bruce going, so what are we talking about? He's like, well, one of the first levels in the business is about a $50,000 annual income you can put together in your non-productive time. And he said, so I asked him, I said, so you're willing to help me put that together? He said, if you can qualify for partnership. And I said, why would you be willing to help me do that? He said, if you can qualify, I'm willing to invest my time and money to help you make a $50,000 annual income, because once you do, he said, I make $1,350 a month as a training bonus. That does not come out of your profit. I said, so it's a win-win situation. Yeah. But you know what the other side of that is? We don't want to waste our time either. You know what I mean? Why would we waste our time with somebody that's not going to appreciate mentorship and appreciate the value of putting together an asset and is going to cave in anytime somebody says, you better be careful, that's probably not going to work. I had people that were warning me about Bruce. He's probably trying to take advantage of you. Well, wait a minute. If I make 50 grand a year, he makes 1350. If I make 100 grand a year, he makes like 2700. If that's taking advantage of, I'm like, man, if I could just get him to take more advantage of me. That'd be a really cool thing. And I'm like, what's wrong with you guys? You just jealous that nobody's offering to take advantage of you? You better be careful how you say that. Watch your mind. So Bruce told me, he said, Dave, I'm going to share with you a way to make income I don't expect you to understand. He said, it's called passive. And when I say passive, what that means is, yes, it means not so much showing up to trade time for money, but doing work one time and continuously being paid for it. Do you see the difference? Because he was talking about this word right here, and that word is called assets. Asset. And I've already been mentioning mentorship. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. I just mentioned values, right? I'm like, where did you guys go? I'm like, I'm hungry too, but what restaurant are we going to? I thought you left. And then I'm going to talk about pipeline. Passive sounded better to me than active, because to me it sounded like I could have a little bit more freedom in my life. Anybody know anybody to talk about wanting freedom? Because I've heard a lot of people talk about wanting freedom, but not really having a vehicle as far as how that freedom can be created. You know what I mean? And so I think there's a lot of people that are striving to do different things, but they don't have solid mentorship from one source that can actually give them the results of what they're really looking for. And that's what this organization is all about. And that's why we take our time going through a vetting process, because two things are happening. Number one, we're giving you the opportunity to earn mentorship, to find out, do you have the right mindset? And number two, we're figuring out, do we really want to work with you, right? And number three, you're getting educated to be able to understand how it is that we make income, because it's quite different than the way most people make money. And to this day, sometimes on occasion, I'll have people, well, that doesn't work. I'm like, okay. Well, what do you mean, okay? I'm like, okay, I'm leaving for Florida tomorrow. What are you doing? Well, I got to go to work. I'm like, sucks to be you. I'm like, well, what? Well, is that it? I'm like, that's it. You just disqualified yourself. You don't qualify for what we do. And I feel good about that, because then I can go to Florida and I don't have to come back. You know, because some people say, you're quite harsh in the vetting process. I'm like, well, wouldn't you be? What's the temperature right now? It said 21 degrees, and it said feels like 9. How ridiculous is that? I sent a text to my wife. I go, it's 14 degrees up here. She sends me a screenshot of the weather report for Florida, 77 and sunny. You know what she says to me? Sucks to be you. She didn't say that. All right, so let's talk about this here for a second. So creating an asset, because if you go to work to make money versus having an asset create money, what does that asset allow you then to do? Okay, let me go over this again. You guys left for the restaurant again. So if you go to work to trade time for money, or you have an asset that creates income for you, if the asset is going to work for you, what does that free you up to do? Anything you want. Which one seems to make more sense? Creating an asset. How many people have had an education on creating an asset that creates a passive income? Now, do you understand why most people look at you funny if you start trying to talk to people outside of this room? They're like, oh, man. First of all, because I did this, because one of the things I'm going to tell you tonight is don't go out and talk to people outside of this room, because they aren't going to get it. You know, because My conversation sounded like this. Dude, I met this guy, and he's talking to me about this thing. It just went down from there. It was just bad. You know what I'm saying? Because in your mind, you're going to remember all these different points. But then what comes out is, dude, I just met this guy, and he talked to me about this thing. And you think that should make sense to them. Get what I'm saying? So let's talk about this big business side of things, okay? Because I'm going to share with you how Bruce makes income and how this whole mentorship organization actually empowers other people to create assets that create passive income, okay? Did we have this conversation in the beginning where I like to talk to people and they talk back to me? Was that this crew? Okay, just double check. Are you guys still frozen or what? Ah, got it. Hey, Josh, turn the heat back up. Okay, so here's the deal. You remember the McDonald's illustration? Yes. All right, so we're starting to thaw out a little bit. That's good. So here's Ray Kroc over here. K-R-O-C. Thankfully, he bought the McDonald's name and didn't change it, because otherwise you'd be driving through a drive-through at McDonald's and you'd be ordering a big Kroc with extra sauce, and that just doesn't sound real appetizing, if you know what I'm saying. So Ray now has 37,000 different outlets, right? All right, so he allows you, as long as you're willing to relocate wherever it is they're going to open the next McDonald's, to own your own McDonald's when you put up $1.3 million of your money. Pocket change, right? Okay. So what's going to happen is you're going to work 10 to 15-hour days after you spend 6 months with their mentorship team called who? That's what I said, who? So you spend 6 months at who? So I found out that there's a Whataburger University. So I'm into T-shirts anywhere I go. It's like the only suit that I wear is typically a bathing suit, right? Except for tonight, because I have to wear this suit. You know what I mean? So usually I'm into T-shirts. So everywhere we go, I'm looking for a T-shirt. And now I want to go to Hamburg University and get a Who shirt. Now I want to go to Whataburger University and get Lisa a shirt. So now we'll be walking down the street. People go, who, woo? I'm like, yeah! Who, woo! You got to have a little fun every once in a while, man. People are way too uptight. They're just thinking all the time like, well, that's not very professional. Exactly. Because when you're your own boss, who's the one that decides the level of professionalism in the place? Right here. Hoo-woo. Yeah. Okay, so Golden State Foods is over here. So you spent 6 months of your McDonald's franchise owning career at Hamburg University, learning from their mentorship every single step on how to be successful. Okay? Then you work 10 to 15-hour days, and you're going to make on average, about $250,000 a year. Working 10 to 15-hour days. Did you catch that? You'll smell like a French fry. They're good French fries, though. I don't think they're making deodorant smelling like French fries, but, maybe eventually they will. But what happens in this illustration? You've got access to Hamburg University, Golden State Foods. You're going to make $250,000, but 4% of the profit's going to come back here to Ray Kroc. After you've been open for 24 hours a day, do you think there's $100 left in the cash register to send back to headquarters? Yeah, probably like by 6:30 in the morning. They did that in coffee, but nonetheless, let's say it's $100. But that comes from 37,000 different outlets. That means Ray today made $3,700,000, and he'll make that every day. So Bruce asked me, when he showed me that, he goes, how'd you do today? And I'm like, shut up. I didn't say that. I was thinking it. I'm like, because the thing that irritated me the most, because that's an attractive income, would you say, on a daily basis, especially when he didn't show up anywhere? You know what I mean? Ray's been dead for 30 years. Can you imagine if he showed up to one of the places? What happened? Ray? He was here? Mm-hmm. You can't get much more passive than dead, right? We had a revelation over here on this side. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want to die and have an income like that because, then Lisa's going to spend all that money and she's going to get a new husband, and I don't like that idea. But, yeah, it didn't sound too attractive, did it? So, that's right. That's what I'm saying. You guys are distracting me. Now I'm trying to figure out where I was going. So he's been dead for 30 years. The thing that really irritated me about this illustration is that a dead guy is outperforming me financially. I just was not good with that. How you doing with it? You know what I mean? But the idea of that method of creating income sure was attractive. It didn't change the fact that I wanted to make money the same way that Ray Kroc did. You get what I'm saying? All right, so let me share with you how we put this all together. Remember the Hamburg University, because that's what we're going to call. What are we calling it? Mentorship. Yes. This is just a supply side. The key tonight is mentorship. And here's the reason that I share this with you, because the exact business that I'm going to share with you right now is the exact business that my mother told me not to build. And it's 20 years now. 20 years ago, when my wife walked away from her job as chief operations officer, guess who came back around? Mom came back around, and she said, could you help me do that? I go, you mean that thing you told me not to do? She's like, well, yeah, I want to be a stay-at-home grandma with your sister's daughter. I said, well, Mom, if you can qualify through our multi-step vetting process. I'm like, of course, your mom, we'll help you. So Mom put the business together, walked away from her job, and she's been a stay-at-home grandma ever since. What's the difference? No mentorship, failure, because she had tried stuff like that before, had no mentorship, and failed. That's why she was trying to protect me. I don't want you to have the same experience I had. So because I've got proper mentorship, Mom, what do you think that experience is going to be? She's like, well, my experience. I go, what's your experience got to do anything with proper mentorship in a business that creates assets, that creates passive income? So she was talking about something she had no idea about. So when we received mentorship and had the results, do you see the difference? Mom saw the difference and came back around, received mentorship, puts the business together, and has a passive income. Now do you understand why we're talking about mentorship? Okay? So, evergreen trees, there we go. Welcome. This right here is the equivalent of our Hamburg University. The reason that I'm showing you these people right here is because of the fact that they, remember this name right here? Pipeline. Got that in your mind? Pipeline. So this couple right here created a pipeline income because they were mentored to do so 40 years ago. They've not had a job for 40 years. They trained their son at the age of 28 how to create a pipeline income that exceeded what they made on a full-time basis, and they had a choice. Because remember, I'm not opposed to jobs. And remember, Bruce was talking to me about multiple streams of income. Because sometimes people think that, okay, after we've gone through all this education, we get a college education, you're telling me just to flush that and come do this? No, not at all. Why not use that college education, get the job that you want, but why not have a backup income that's the same as what you make full-time and your part-time, and then just let that thing double, triple, quadruple, and keep going? Then you can compare which one makes more sense. Right? Okay. So that's exactly the option that they had. So when his pipeline income exceeded what he made on a full-time basis, at 28 he walked away. He decided to opt out. Their daughter and son-in-law, same thing, 25 and 26. They learned how to create a pipeline income and decided to opt out. Let me give you a real quick example of what a pipeline income is. So I've got a friend who has a friend named Dean. And Dean wanted to adopt a couple kids, so we went to Zambia because he picked Zambia to adopt the kids. Why didn't he go to Otsego? He wanted to go to Zambia. So he goes to Zambia, and the water source closest to this village that he went to was 3 miles away. So what does every single villager have to do every single day? Walk and not forget the bucket. Because that would be a bummer. You know, it's like, hey, you want to go for a walk? Yeah, 2.5 miles in. Dude, we've been walking the whole time. You didn't tell me to get my bucket. That would be frustrating, you know? I'll bet he won't forget his bucket anymore. So He's got to walk 3 miles one way to get water, maybe a couple times a day. Well, I'll tell you what, when the villagers are used to that being the thing that they always have to do, somebody comes up with an idea, I'm going to bring a shovel along with you next time, and starts digging a trench and puts a piece of pipe in there each time. Okay? First of all the villagers are grabbing the bucket and doing the water thing, right? So the dude with the shovel, what's everybody else saying about him? He's great. You better watch out. They're trying to take advantage of you. It's probably a scam, a scheme, a pyramid. Watch out. We've always done things this way. Better talk to his parents. We need to get some psychotherapy going on over here. You know what I mean? But by the time he puts that last piece of pipe in, how many more times do you have to make the trip to get water? 0. And what he's saying to all the other villagers is $10. Right? Do you understand what pipeline means now? It's a continuous flow. It doesn't stop. So if you've got a pipeline income that matches what you make on a full-time basis, you know what you have? Options. That's all my discussion with you tonight is about, is educating you on the value of mentorship to create assets that give you options. Make sense? Okay. So, what do these people do? You might ask. All of them have very different backgrounds, but they learn from a similar mentorship source. So when we talk about going through the mentorship process to have the opportunity to earn mentorship, it's so that we can tap into the mentality of what they already have, so that you would have the option of creating a pipeline income that allows you to have options. Right? So, what do they do? Glad you asked, because I was about to tell you anyway. So, do you guys, I like to keep my questions simple, so let's go for a real simple one. Do you guys ever eat anything? That's good. That's good. Did I mention I was getting hungry? I like to eat. We have this favorite restaurant that's down in Florida, and it's called the Bahama Breeze. And they have really good food. You know what my wife did to me the other day? She had 2 friends that flew down to Florida to join her. They were sitting at Bahama Breeze, and they FaceTime with me. Guess where we are? And I'm like, this is cruel and unusual punishment. You know what? I'm glad that she can live that lifestyle. She's been a blessing in my life, and I love the fact that we can bless her back. She deserves every ounce of time and every ounce of joy that it gives her to be able to be there amongst the evergreen trees. So you guys said that you like to eat. Thank you for letting me go on that tangent with Bahama Breeze, but I think you should go there in case you ever have the chance. They have a dessert, and it's mismarked in the menu, and it's called Banana Manna because it's made by angels. Anyway, so do you guys go to the store on a regular monthly basis because you have to buy things that you consume, everything like, except your perishables. Think of whatever that number is that you spend every single month. Okay? Yes. Do we have any single individuals in our midst? What do you spend? Do you have any idea what you spend on a monthly basis on average? You spend $400. Dude, when I was single, I spent like $10. You like my... All right, so $10 on the toothpaste to clean the sinks, the toilets, your hair, and everything, and the rest goes for food. I get it. Do you have any married couples with no kids yet? What do you guys spend? $400 to $900. Okay, so far, they're winning. If I got to go somewhere, they got more food. Okay? Families. Yes, back there? 2,000? Okay. Sorry, they won. Looking at adopt anybody not from Zambia? So would you agree that that's a habit? Every single month we kind of need to eat, right? Probably on a daily basis. I tried to take a month off of eating one time. Holy smokes. That was the longest 5 minutes of my life. It was amazing. I ate twice as much 5 minutes later just to make up for what I might have lost in the first 5 minutes. You follow me? Okay, so you guys buy that every single month, right? Where do you normally go to buy that stuff? Myers, Costco, Wally World, Sam's Club, right? Would you agree that when you make those purchases, the owner of that store makes... Okay. So I was like, where did I go? Did I leave or did you leave? Did it like go bye-bye? Okay. So the owner of the store makes a profit, right? So let's see. First name? Ashley. So if Meijer changes its name to Ashley Mart, okay? And Ashley goes into Ashley Mart, because now you own the store, and you make a purchase at Ashley Mart, who keeps the profit? You do. Isn't that wild? And I want to simplify that. I love asking guys, who keeps the profit? I do. Nope. Your wife does. Yep. That was the one thing that we had to get clarification on, because Bruce told me, see, Dave, the idea is you have a consumption habit, and all we do is we take that existing habit that you don't get paid for, and we allow you to buy from a different location that does pay you. I said, so I change where I buy stuff and I get paid? He said, yes. And the real answer is no. Did I show you the picture of who gets the money? Now you know what I'm talking about. See, but he had to spell this out a couple times. All right, so Dave, let me help you out. He goes, right now you're buying all of your products from a place that doesn't pay you. This would give you the option of buying your products from a place that does pay you. And he's looking at me like there should be a response. And I go, can I have my options again? Do you get that? So I'm buying products every single month because I have this nasty habit, just like you do, of wanting to stay alive. Right? So I have to eat things, right? Preferably edible things. And so every month we have to buy stuff. And Meijer's loves it. Have you ever thought about the financial standing of the Meijer's household? I think they're doing okay financially. Has anybody ever bought anything on Amazon? Well, that's like asking somebody if you breathe today, isn't it? Well, if you think of the idea, you identify a product, Amazon has it shipped to you from the warehouse that put it up on their website, right? Jeff Bezos keeps the profit. He's now the wealthiest person on the planet, isn't it? Isn't he? He and his ex-wife. Sorry, just had to throw that in there. So here we are with the mentorship, and then our supply side is a mall. Can you imagine having the opportunity to be able to go shopping at a mall, and everything you buy comes back, it gets delivered to you, and you get paid for it? That's what these guys do. But to put that together, you have to have billionaires to be able to do it, because nobody's going to listen to somebody like Dave. Hey, is this the president of Nike? Yeah, I want to create a partnership with you, and everything I buy, I want you to pay me. How long do you think that conversation is going to go? Do you see what I'm saying? So you need somebody with some clout to be able to put that together. That's why we have billionaires that put this together. And I think you probably know the names of these people because you've probably seen their names somewhere around Grand Rapids. It's DeVos and Van Andel. They got their fame from having an in-home, door-to-door soap selling company. That's where they started. Okay? And then they started selling soap. You'd actually buy a red radio flyer wagon, you'd put soap in the back, and you'd go down the street and you would knock. See, the reason I'm going slow is because that's what people thought I was planning on doing. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, what year is it? I was thinking maybe they got stuck in time somewhere, you know? These guys have been around for 60 years. Like in 1999, they went online like any logical company would do and started offering all the products from all these different stores, all these different retailers, Nike, Under Armour, Home Depot, Bass Pro Shops, Office Depot, Macy's, Express, whatever. And I'm like, so wait a minute, I can buy just about anything online and have it shipped to me and get paid, or I can go to Amazon and let Jeff Bezos get paid. Yeah, either way, you're getting somebody paid with your purchases. And I'm like, oh, I could get money for this. And then my wife took over. So today, like within the hour that I'm before you, they'll do $1 million. They'll do $1 million in volume, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. $8.8 billion, okay? They own a few different companies. Altacore is a holding company, Amway Here's some of the brands. Artistry, they own an Island, Neutralite, and they own the Orlando Magic. I think that's a basketball team. Not sure how well they're doing, but they have an amazing arena that they can practice in. The biggest challenge is keeping the fans inside the arena because everything outside with all the restaurants is so nice. Yeah. Anybody ever shopped at any of these stores? Mm-hmm. And prior to understanding a little bit about this business, were you paid for those purchases? I wasn't. And it kind of works like this. See, what happens is on occasion, in Michigan we live on a lake, so you know what that means. Instant friends. You live on a lake? I like you! No, you just want to come over and ride in the boat, on the tube. You don't like me, you like what I have. That's it. No, but I like you. So people come over, and they typically bring food, okay? And so all of a sudden I get this message from my wife. It's like, hey, the refrigerator's full. Guys, if you don't understand something, women speak in code language, and they totally expect you to understand what they mean, not what they say. So I'm sitting there going, the refrigerator's full. Wait! That's a code. Refrigerator's full, need to empty the fridge. I'm hungry, coming, honey. She's like, no, we got more people coming. I'm like, refrigerator's full, more people coming. Oh, she wanted me to buy another refrigerator so we had more room. Took me 3 tries, but I got it. I'm like, yes, how about that, babe? I'm growing. So I went to Home Depot, picked out the fridge that I wanted. Could have bought it right there from Home Depot. Who would have kept the profit? Mr. Home Depot. I mean, what a last name is that? Jim Home Depot? Steve? I don't know. Instead, ordered through our partnership. Guess who got paid? Lisa! You guys are getting this. All right. That's kind of how that works. Yeah. And that's why I love when people go, that won't work. I'm like, hey, what are you doing right after this? Oh, I got to go to Meijer. I'm like, I was picturing Bruce. You don't get paid here, you get paid here. Which one makes more sense? Now, that wasn't Bruce acting like that. That's how I received it. Oh, let me think about that, Bruce. You can see that happen a lot. You buy stuff and get... Do you know how my wife explains this now? I go shopping and get paid. I try to explain it to her all technical and stuff. She's like, why don't you just tell people what you do? I'm like, what do? You go shopping and get paid? I go, that's a lie. You get paid. Here's some of the stats. You guys realize LeBron James, Nike pays him $1 billion over his lifetime, right? Because he's got 40 million people that watch him wear clothes. You thought he was a basketball player. He's a clothes model. Right? Because he does endorsements. They pay him $1 billion over his lifetime because they figure that Nike's going to make 500 to 700 times what they're paying him. Is that a win-win situation? Yeah. These guys have paid $61 billion to people like you and I who have just simply bought things for themselves, had it shipped to them, and they profited from that transaction. Okay? You got that? All right, if you qualify to have an offer extended to you for partnership, the beautiful thing is, because this whole business is designed for somebody with a busy schedule. I was working 60 to 80 hours a week. Lisa was working 40 to 60 hours a week. She would plan events for like a Banana Arena all around the country. So one weekend she'd be in Seattle, another weekend Kentucky, another weekend in Colorado. So we were busy. It's not like we had all this time to waste. So in about 6 to 10 hours a week, we were able to utilize things like this, apps that would educate us, so that instead of just driving down the road in my car and listening to the radio or something like that, I could actually turn that into a university on wheels and educate myself on the value of creating assets that create passive income, so that the time that I was putting into the business was actually going to come back to me as an investment return. Because the time that we put in has freed up 90 hours of our work week and tripled her income. I think that's a very valid investment. Would you agree? All right. So the beautiful part is off of 2 apps, the mentorship app, and then really I think of this as more of the office app where I can track my entire business. You can run a company. If you have the opportunity to have an offer extended for partnership, the investment, are you ready? People are like, well, I don't understand why it costs money to have to do something. And I'm like, yeah, it costs money. That's an E-quadrant expression. You might want to stay snuggled up in that E-quadrant and stay an employee. Okay? Because anybody knows that if you're going to own a company, there's probably going to be an investment. It's $240 to own and operate your own company. $100 of that is products that you would consume. Okay? And if you're like, well, that's a lot of money. Okay, well, that's why we teach people to make a profit. Profit is a very good word, and it pays you, right? So why wouldn't you want to make a profit in your first couple of months in the business in order to pay yourself that back and then continue to make a profit after that, right? And if you want to compare it to a business, then I'll let you take over my financial planning business because that's about $5,000 a month each and every month just to have a business. So that's $5,000 that I have to make before I have $1 to take home to my buying habit. I mean, my wife. Right? Because if you really look at traditional business, well, I want to be a business owner. You ready for the overhead? Talking to somebody the other day, he wants to own a gym. I'm like, any idea what the overhead is? He goes, right up front, I'm going to have to come up with $250,000. And then, you see, it's like as soon as you start talking business, that's when I say $240 to own a business, I looked at Bruce and I go, it can't be a serious business. Compare that to what I was paying overhead for the financial. Do you see why I would make that statement? And then he's like, yeah, overhead's probably about $100 a month. I'm like, no way that you can have a business that can create a 6-figure income with $100 a month in overhead. You know what he said to me? Way. He always had short expressions. I mean, just the way that he would live his life. I remember one time, okay, I got 10 seconds I can tell this story. He said, Dave, stop by the house, 11 o'clock tomorrow. So here's this financial planner guy, dressed in a suit. I'm right, 11 o'clock. Ring the doorbell. Door swings open. There's no Bruce. I'm like, whoa. You guys ever seen the Munsters? How that happened? Then I hear his voice. Dave, I apologize. I'm like, what are you apologizing for? He walks around. He's in his bathrobe, hasn't taken a shower yet. So he's like, you know, video games are what they are today. Back in the day, he's like, I was killing Nazis until 2 o'clock in the morning. My wife wanted to watch a movie, so we watched movies until like 6 o'clock this morning, so I just got up. How cool is it that you got to have a lifestyle that you can do that? Now, you probably don't want to kill Nazis, but maybe you want zombies or something, you know what I mean? Kill whatever you want to kill, but do it whenever you want to do it. You know what I mean? Why not have some fun in life instead of, I mean, you could sit there and you could watch people drive that are stressed about, oh, there's one. You see him? Yep, he's really stressed. We had one of our partners that would drive to an overpass during rush hour traffic. By the way, I got a question for you. Of all the times of day that people could drive, why do they pick 8 o'clock? Who came up with that idea? When Lisa's like, well, I'm going to go, I'm like, wait! There's a secret. Everybody thinks they have to drive at 8. Wait until 9:45. Nobody will be out there. Hey, wait. Let me see if you can guess. There's another time of day that they do it again. Do you guys know what time that is? Why? Because that's when they let me out. I thought that was a job, not prison. Where was I? I was telling a story somewhere, and then you guys so rudely interrupted me. Where was I? Bruce and Nazis. No, I think I was past that. Anyway, okay. Do you understand what I'm talking about? I'm talking about lifestyle. So you don't have to do what everybody else is doing just because they can't afford it. You follow what I'm saying? Because I had a whole lot of people telling me what I shouldn't do, and I'm like, you know what? I would listen to you for 5 seconds if you had any financial credibility whatsoever. And I go, you know what? I really don't think you have any guts, so why don't you go with your video game buddies and try to conquer the world, and I'm going to do something that's going to inspire people so that we can create a better world as it is. They don't like those kind of talks. They end pretty quickly. I guess that was an attitude. Sorry. All right. So here we go. You guys ready? Here's how we make the money. There's 3 ways we make income. Number 1, remember that buying habit that you have? We help you change it to a place that pays you. Does that sound like more intelligent? Okay, so we help you do that, and then we help you create preferred customers. Do you know what a preferred customer is? No, Dave, why don't you tell me? Glad you asked. These are people that you may know that, quite honestly, are not going to be business owner material, but they buy things every month just like all of us do. And we give them an opportunity to have a very good shopping experience where they can support someone that, instead of not knowing who the owner is, they can actually support you, who they do care for. Do you follow what I'm saying? Or care about. So in that situation, we help you create what's called 300 points. On average, $3 spent is 1 point. Okay? Now, $400 spent, that's a little bit over 100 points. Okay? What did we say, 600? 9. So that's about 300 points. 2,000, that's more. Right? So what we do is we help people create 300-point personal circles. So if you spend $100 or $10 in my illustration, all we do is we help people create preferred clients for the balance. Does that make sense? Because single broke college students, like what I used to be, guess where most of their volume is going to come from? Preferred customers, right? So we help create by the way, there's no requirements, so it's your company. You can decide what you want to do or not do. But 300 points, that's going to equate to about somewhere between $150 to $250 of profit to you. Okay, if you thought you were going to make $6,000 your first month, you're in the wrong spot. Okay? What's nice is a passive income, you grow it incrementally, step by step by step. Seems like it grows slowly, but I'll tell you what, after a while, it keeps coming in. It's almost like my dad says, well, money doesn't grow on trees. Anybody ever heard that expression? I feel like I found the money tree. Because whether we work or not, the money keeps coming in. There was a time period, we took a trip to Italy, Montenegro, Croatia. We came back, and 2 weeks later, we flew down to San Antonio, Texas. About a week after that, went to San Diego. A couple weeks after that, we went back to San Antonio again. Throughout that whole time, how much work do you think was done? Not a whole lot of anything. Yep. It's about ready to fire my wife. You know, I'm like, hey, you got to get on this thing. You got to stop spending so much time traveling. She's like, I'm traveling with you. I'm like, hey, who's the CEO around here? Our income went up during that time. If you didn't show up to your job throughout that whole time, how much would you get paid? Do you understand the difference between active income versus passive income? And so all we're talking about is lifestyle, options, okay? And when other people don't have those options, they're the ones that say, that sounds too good to be true. You want to see the rest of the lifestyle? Yeah, just keep looking. You'll keep saying, it sounds too good to be true. How can Bruce and Jamie not have a job in the last 27? Well, that sounds too good to be true. It sounds too good to be true, just so much that I wanted to make it true so that I can live that lifestyle. Sorry, there's just a lot of negative people out there, and I just don't take it. I had some of my buddies, you still doing that thing? I go, you still doing that thing where your wife's got to keep working? I won't tell you the rest of the conversation, but it's really short after that. Anyway, so 3 different ways that we make income. Number 1 is change buying habits. Number 2 is preferred clients. And number 3, properly vetting candidates to identify the right mindset that can receive mentorship. So don't worry about the house and the people and stuff like that. Just think of this as 4 different households, okay? And all we do is we teach them, assuming they can qualify for mentorship, we teach them the exact same thing, how to create that 300-point personal circle. Well, in this illustration, 300 times 5 is 1,500. So this is what we call fast track 1,500. Do you see? That's like rocket science. Because 5 times 300 is 1,500, and that's why they call it fast track 15. I just figured that out. Anyway, you can see this is a check for about $500 a month. Now, what most people do is they save up money in a 401k plan because eventually they don't want to show up to work anymore, but they want to keep getting paid, right? You ever think about how much you have to save up to create $500 a month? If you do the math on it real quick, 500 times 12, that's 6,000. A withdrawal rate that's typically used in a financial planning situation, that's 4%. If you divide that out, that's $150,000. So we've had people in 1 month, 2 months, 3 months put together a $150,000 asset and create a $500 monthly profit month after month after month. And you think about it, when was the last time in your 401k you saved up $150,000 in 3 months? I don't think that ever happened. You know what I mean? Just saying. That's the value of creating an asset versus working for money all the time. See, when you work for money, you have to keep working for money. When you create an asset, the money keeps coming in. You follow me? Because people can have a great job, don't get me wrong, but if you wanted to go to Italy and you've got this amazing sports car, as a matter of fact, Lisa sent me a picture the other night. They went by this restaurant, and evidently people with a lot of money go to this restaurant. She was not going to that restaurant, but there was, and she knows I like lime green. And so there was a lime green Lamborghini sitting right in front of this restaurant. Wouldn't that be pretty sweet? I don't know how much they cost, probably like, $5,000 or something like that. But I just, you got the most awesome car in the world. You're in Florida in a lime green Lamborghini. That vehicle is an amazing vehicle, but it is not going to get you to Italy. Would you agree? The best education in the world can get you a great job. But the right education can get you out of a job. All right, so what do we do from there? We simply expand each one of these networks. So now we teach them how to do Fast Track 1500, add a couple of more properly vetted candidates. This is where you're looking at about a $51,000 annual income, properly structured. This is what Bruce told me would take somewhere between 6 to 18 months. Anybody in an organization that's hit this level has done it faster than we did it. That's all I got to say about that. They're like, were you slow? Shut up. Okay, from there, all we do is continue to expand the network. Remember, a properly structured network is a win-win situation. Here's a win-win situation. Can you imagine having an additional part-time income that looks like that? Kind of messes with your head, doesn't it? See, the thing you have to remember, it's okay with you that LeBron James makes a $1 billion lifetime contract from Nike because he's in the endorsement business. Really, what is this? Aren't we endorsing 3 to 4 million products through an online mall? So you have to remember, you got out of the E quadrant and you got out of what you thought was allowable for you to make money. We're in a completely different vehicle. We got out of the lime green Lamborghini at the airport and we got an airplane. Now we're on our way to Italy. Do you get what I'm saying? This is a different vehicle. Therefore, you can expect a different result. So if we continue, and this doesn't happen overnight, it happens over time. So from there, continue to expand. I mean, how much income do you really want to make? Could you figure out what to do with $50,000 a month of income? Oh, I need some mentorship. Talk to my wife. She'll handle it. She's got no problem. All right, is this making sense to you? Who likes the idea of creating a passive income where you control, you can have a whole lot more of that freedom stuff than somebody else dictating to you what time you have to go somewhere, what time you can have lunch, what kind of home you can live in, what kind of car you can drive, how much debt you have to be into, and how long you can have for vacation? I remember a couple times that people say, what are you doing for vacation? I go, we're heading to Florida again. And they're like, how do you get so much time off? I go, I tell them. How do you tell them? I go, I open my mouth and I say, I won't be back for a while. Most people are like, well, you get a 2-week vacation. I go, for you. But what if you like it? What if you had rain for the first week and you're like, this is 2 weeks, we're going to have great weather. I'm staying for another week. You just call back and say, hey, you know what? I appreciate you guys keeping my job for me and everything else like that, but the weather wasn't real great for the first week, so we're going to extend it another week, okay? I'll see you guys in another 7 days. That sound good? How logical is that? What won't be waiting for you when you get back? Your job. See, there's too many constraints. Wouldn't it be nice just to take the shackles off and just go, I'm going to live my life the way that I want to. I'm going to decide how much money I'm worth. I'm going to decide where I want to live. I'm going to decide what I want to do and who I want to do with it. Anybody like the idea of going out with a group of people and just picking up the tab for dinner? Anybody like that idea? Hold your hands really high because I want to have dinner with every single one of you. Wouldn't it be cool? Just a little more freedom. All right, so let me wrap this up. I guess I did. 3 things I'm going to leave you with. Number 1, if we're tracking, this is making sense, and you want to continue the education process, and you talk to the person that invited you here, and you have a consensus about the fact that we should continue, you're going to want to schedule what we call a step 4. All right? That's a whole lot more of the details. I've got an hour to unpack all this information with you, and it's going to take more understanding on your part. Okay? So that's a step 4. The other part is, as you are leaving, what you want to do is request an audio from the person that invited you here. That audio will continue the education that we've started tonight. Okay? When you get done with that audio, remember we told you that we're looking for people that are hungry for mentorship? When you finish that audio, send a text back to the person that invited you and ask for another one. There's 2 audios that you should listen to. They're only like 20 minutes long. You could probably listen to both of them by the time you get home or shortly thereafter. Okay? And number 3, what you want to do is what I referenced earlier. Remember the part that I messed up where I was told, hey, Dave, don't go talking to people about what you just learned tonight. Because remember, you've had 2 steps to prepare your brain for what you just learned tonight. And if you walk out of here and you try to explain any part of this to anyone, you're going to think you're communicating the probably 3 hours worth of material that you've gotten so far, and it's going to sound like, dude, I met this guy and he showed me this thing. And they're going to go, yeah, let's have another one. Do you follow what I'm saying? They're not going to take you seriously. And the challenge is they're going to start asking you questions. And on question number 1 or number 2, you're going to lose credibility. I'm learning about a potential partnership in business. And I'm not fully educated, so I can't explain what I'm learning. But if I can earn mentorship and it makes sense, we'll get back together and we'll revisit this conversation, and I'll give you some details. Does that sound good? That takes the pressure off of you. Does that make sense to you? So I hope this education has made sense to you, and I'm going to wish you much success in step 4 and beyond if you get there. Please help me welcome your host, Mr. Jack Pollard.
All right, so that does conclude the first portion of the evening. So if you guys are here as a first-time candidate, some of our senior partners have agreed to meet you briefly out in the hallway. And for those of you that have already been partnered in business with us, we're going to get started with additional training here in about 20 minutes. Thank you, have a good evening, and drive safe. there as well. Like, I'm glad that I was taking notes to follow along because I was laughing half the time. But we're going to go ahead and get rolling. So we have a couple of different announcements. Kaylee, you're going through announcements, correct, or me? All right, cool. All right, so next business briefing is going to be Thursday, February 27th with Going Diamond, Ben Skierbeck on the board. So for those of you that do not know, Ben has a very successful background in marketing. Kirsten was able to walk away from her job a few years ago, now raises 2 little boys at home. They have a lot of fun. Ben comes in with a lot of passion and tenacity, and definitely make sure you guys are getting some guests out there.
All right, and then make sure you've marked your calendars for URA Spring Leadership. I believe, who just looked at the app? I think we're 54 days away. Is that right? Somebody check me. 55. Okay, I was really close. That's awesome. So that is a perfect amount of time to really go into conference with momentum. So conference is scheduled April 17th through the 19th, and we are going to be just a little bit closer, Charleston, West Virginia. Yeah, so super excited about it. Be sure you go online and get your your hotel room, because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but hotels are filling up fast. I know Host Hotel is already filled up. And somebody, I think Megan mentioned this on one of the Zooms, that there is breakfast at quite a few of the hotels, some free parking options, and some of the hotels are a bit of a distance away and you'd have to drive to the conference center. So anyway, get on there, make sure that you set the example for your growing teams. Alrighty, and then we do have a date for our next seminar in May, so it is our Midwest seminar. The speaker is to be announced. It is Saturday, May 16th from 7 to 11 p.m. at East Kentwood. Go Falcons! And make sure that is in your calendar. Or as Dave T. Roller, he would agree with me. All right, and then the final announcement, and wherever Russ Jager is, I apologize, we were supposed to say this at the beginning when all the guests were here, but if you have coffee or tea, just set the example by not placing that on the carpet in here. We're trying to respect our environment, and we appreciate Dan for continuing to pick up all of the spilled drinks. So you can have water on the ground, but help make sure your guests hold on to their drink as well.
And potentially pick up after them if they forget their drink or anything like that. All right, guys, let's go ahead and roll into recognition. We're going to do some volume success really quick. So Kaylee's going to kick that off as well.
We are. So I know that we have a lot of brand new business owners in the room. In fact, if you were extended an offer recently, and this is your first training with this Midwest team, could you stand to your feet? Hey, all right.
All right. Stay standing, stay standing. So what we'll have you guys do is stay standing. What we'll have you guys do is introduce yourselves and then who you partnered with in business and then what you guys do for work currently. So we'll start with you, big guy.
All right, my name is Liam Cowan. I actually met Steve at Barnes & Noble and then met Sam a couple weeks after that. Currently, I am working at Asian Street Fair place, and I've got an internship hopefully coming up in the next couple weeks.
All right.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I'm Will Smith. I'm at Schwartz at a Discount Tire, and I'm currently in student.
All right. Did you say Will Smith? Phil Smith. Okay. Sorry. But
Yeah.
I believe it. I believe it. Congratulations.
Yeah, my name is Cody Rega, and I currently work at GameStop as a senior guest advisor. So come nerd out with us at my store. It's great. But I am also a full-time student right now at Grand Rapids Theological Seminary, working on my master's in divinity. And my sponsor is Mark Evans, and I met him through my church.
All right. Congratulations, guys.
Awesome.
You can sit down now.
So as you guys are probably learning right now from your incredible mentors, there are 2 oars to this business that URA teaches so well. So first of all, we are going to talk about volume, creating volume. We get paid on volume, and URA is really releasing so many great trainings to be able to help us be equipped to build a preferred client base and help people follow through and place orders. So tonight what we want to recognize is anyone over the last week since the last briefing who registered a preferred client who placed an order. So if that is you, we'd like to have you come up and share some of your success with us. Right now.
Anyone?
Come on up.
There we go. Come on up, guys.
Yeah, so look at the support group right here, Alex. Okay. What are you doing? Thank you, Logan. Okay, so we are going to have you share, yes, your name, your sponsor, and then, yeah, let's have you talk about who you registered as a preferred client and what they ordered.
Okay, I'm Alexandra. Wow, hi. Hello. Okay, I'm Alexandra Polakovich, sponsored by Logan Bozek. I registered 3 new clients. 2 of them were people from my work who were trying to gain weight. I was like, I have these really good bars you should try. So they registered, and then I registered my grandma who did some joint health, CBD cream, and one other thing. And she's going to pass them out to all of her friends. It's going to be great. So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So can you share, are any of these preferred clients on Ditto yet?
Not yet, but they will be.
They will
Does
be.
that count?
That's awesome.
I'll let you know when they do, though.
And all those referrals, too. So
For
lots of
sure,
nuggets
for
in
sure.
there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alex. Yes. All right.
Tim and Karen Lammy, sponsored by Ryan Lammy. Had a artistry clinic a couple weeks ago, and had a customer, didn't order then, but yesterday texted me like twice and called me once while I was at work. I didn't have my phone with me, and she goes, I really need that moisturizer. And so I had one on hand, and then she wanted another one, so the skin treatment system is what she wanted. So $32.50 a PV.
Awesome, thank you. I want to have you share something else. So I know a lot of us in the room are really working on creating more volume through events. So you had an artistry clinic. I'm assuming you've done some before in the past, maybe when you first got started, right? So what made you decide to want to have a clinic? How did you reach out to people? I think there's some people who would like to hear that. Yeah.
Well, girls talk.
Okay. Yeah.
And invited about 20 different people, only had 3 that showed up, but studied to do this, the SAMS.
Yeah.
Was it certified in SAMS and then Tanita, and Lara said, you've done this before, so now, or with her, and so she goes, you can do it. So it's like, oh, okay. Was disappointed that nobody ordered then, but not on Ditto yet. But she said, I have 2 daughters that still live at home, and you know, I'm going to share this with them, and if we really like it, then we're going to continue, and so they'll be on Ditto.
Yes, they will be. As Lisa says, you planted seeds, the harvest is coming. So
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
you all can do it. You all have amazing sponsors, upline, tools to learn on the system. Use them. You know, there's videos and audios on all that. Kristen DeSalt is amazing. Lots of education there. Just plug in and have faith. You all can do it.
Appreciate you guys. Good job.
I'm Tom Deutsch, partly mentored by the amazing Going Platinum Jack and Kaylee Pillard. And I registered a C-list guy that disqualified through the process as a preferred client, and he got the G&H body milk.
So, Tom, we had him share a little bit about this in Livonia last night. I think a lot of us are working on changing those C-list contacts into preferred clients, especially if you've gone through a lot of your family and friends to create volume. So how did you gain the courage to do that? Who was this? How did you get it to convert him from C-list to preferred client?
So I met him in Meyer, and then we sat down for a step 1, And then I figured out that he's here on a student visa, so then he couldn't come through the rest of the process. But then I said, hey, I'd still like to earn your business. And he was like, that sounds awesome. Like, what does that mean, though? And I was like, well, you see, there are a wide variety of product lines. And I told him about the supplements, about the sports nutrition, and about the skincare. And he was interested in the skincare. And so I was like, well, hey, here's what we can do. We can actually schedule a different time to meet up and then dive into a lot of the individual products more in depth. And he was like, that sounds fantastic.
All right, so the other order of the business is going to be personally sponsoring, so either going out and meeting new individuals, bringing them through the process, or bringing your A and B list through the process. So who here had 3 or more step 1s over the course of last week? Stand up. All right, we'll have you guys come up really quick.
I'm Dallas Clapp, sponsored by Logan Bozak. I did 5 step 3s.
Step 1s or 3s?
1s.
So same thing, we'll have you guys do name, sponsor, and how many step 1s you showed.
Okay. Mike and Annie's Weir, proudly sponsored by Ben and Kirsten Skierbeck. 3 step 1s.
We are Jeff from Crystal Melton, mentored by Ben and Kirsten Skierbeck, and we had 4 step 1s.
Jake and Nicole McCown, mentored by the Sturgars. We had 3 step 1s.
We're Matt and Angie Schwartz. We're sponsored by Bradley Atumwa. We had 3 step 1s.
All right, and then obviously doing step 1s is going to lead into step 2s, and then eventually step 3s, where that person will either come out tonight as a candidate, or you guys are going to be doing personal step 3s. So if you guys had either a guest out tonight, or sorry, I keep saying candidate too. If you guys had a guest out tonight or did a personal step 3 within the last week, please come on up.
We are Dylan and Abby Hescott, sponsored by Parker and Carly Glasshour, and we had 1 guest out tonight.
Yes.
We're Stephen Sam Taylor. We're sponsored by Jane Christiana Shepard. We have 1 guest out and 1 personal plan.
Caleb Spulma, probably sponsored by Jack and Kaylee Plard. And I had 1 considerate, something politically correct, personal step 3, and then 1 out tonight as well. So.
I'm Cassie Gregorski, sponsored by Mariela Sosa, and I had 1 personal this week.
Austin Lewandowski, sponsored by Jake and Nicole McCown, and had 1 guest out this week.
We are Aiden and Emily, sponsored by Jake and Nicole McCown, and we had 1 personal step 3 this week.
Jake and Nicole McCown, mentored by the Sturgars, and we had a personal step 3.
Alexandra Polakovich, sponsored by Logan Bozek. I had 2 step 3s and 1 guest out tonight.
Thank you. Wrong way.
All right. Mark and Laura Evans, mentored by Dave and Lisa T. Roller. And we had 1 guest out tonight.
We are Parker and Carly Glassauer, mentored by Bruce and Jamie Bush. We had 3 personal step 3s.
We are Matt and Angie Schwartz, sponsored by Bradley Atilma, and we had, sorry, I moved too fast, and 2 personal step 3s.
We are Nick and Amy Heiser, sponsored by Jeff and Krista Melton, and we had 1 personal step 3.
We are Russ and Samantha Jager, sponsored by Derek and Jamie Rodriguez, and we had 1 personal step 3, and that turned out to a guest in Tampa.
I am Dallas Clapp, sponsored by Logan Bozak. I had 2 personal step 3s and 1 this Sunday.
Logan Bozak, sponsored by Mark and Laura Evans. I had 1 personal step 3 and then 2 guests out tonight.
Dave and Lisa T. Roller, Austin Multiply, and Bruce and Jamie Bush. 1 here and 1 Tampa.
And we are Jack and Kaylee Pillard, proudly mentored by Diamonds Dave and Lisa Tirola. And we had 1 guest out tonight.
All right, so can we give it a hand again for Dave and how amazing that step 3 was? So as you guys can tell, Dave and Lisa are obviously on a warpath, dividing and conquering right now. We're definitely very excited for where they're going. We can't thank them enough for the mentorship that they've been able to offer us over the last few years, and we're just really pumped about what they're about to do and the teaching that Dave is actually going to be able to have for you guys this evening, and a little bit of the dream as well, maybe talking about a couple different things, including visiting the Crows. But he's just been absolutely amazing, and he's on fire. We want to make sure that we don't get left behind, and yeah, I don't have words for what he's been able to do for our family and our legacy. So do you want to say anything? Or?
I don't have words either, although I could probably come up with a lot of them, as some of you know. Yeah, honestly, just like everyone in this room, I know you could raise your hand right now and say how impacted you've been by Dave and Lisa, even if you aren't directly within their team. They have a way of just blessing people by being in their presence, right? And we just desire to embody that and to learn from it and follow in that light that they exude. And I agree with Jack. March 2021 is a done deal for their diamondship, and that means that this entire organization is going to Coliseums and beyond. And so we're so excited and honored to have them here tonight, well, to have Dave here, and then before he goes back to Florida tomorrow. So yeah, I'll have Jack officially welcome him up.
So please help me welcome Going Diamond, Dave T. Roller.
We got Dr. Beats in the back. Thanks, Dan Empson. I don't know if we're going to get another rendition of Beats. Oh, we're good. We're good. We're good. Thank you. I appreciate it. There we go. You guys excited? I hope you have a vision for your future because it's a beautiful sight if you do. And if you don't, I'm believing that tonight you're going to get your heart infiltrated with a vision that you know that you're supposed to accomplish. And so, you know, the interesting thing is a lot of people have been asking about what's going on in Tampa, what's going on in Tampa. You guys realize that we have the exact same thing that they have in Tampa? We have business owners who have a vision that want to move their lifestyle forward, and they're capitalizing on it. And what's happening in Tampa is the people that are deciding to lead are leading. And you know what? We're doing the exact same thing here, and that's why you guys are feeling a different environment. Would you agree you're starting to feel a different environment here in Grand Rapids? You give this 3 or 4 more weeks and watch what's happening. Because one of the things that I'm going to ask Nate Cook to come up here in a second to give you some technological wisdom, because they were explaining to me how to do this technological thingamajig with a whatchamacallit. And I was like, can you give me those instructions again? He's like, yeah. And he goes, I'm like, Nate, you understand that? He goes, got it. I'm like, I'm calling you up. And so if you guys notice, there's a guest list now that's on Google Docs, right? And see, the whole idea is you can see who has guests coming for Thursday. And it's a good feeling if you got a guest coming on Thursday. And if you don't have a guest coming for Thursday, it is a really good, uncomfortable feeling because you can look at all the other people that have guests and you're like, mm. And so it's a beautiful thing because I'll tell you what, we can either have an organization that hides behind what they've done in the past, or we can practice what Dave DeSalt always says. Leadership is not in the past, leadership is right now, right? And I look at it, and this is just me, because we've gone to business briefings in Tampa and not had a guest there, and I'm sitting there just burning, because there's Ed and Elise Vichinanza, they've got a guest, Jordan and General Keller. I remember there was one week when Eddie's guest called him that morning and canceled. And that was one of the nights that he spoke, and he was just fuming. He was fired up for that plan, I'll tell you what. But you know what? It is a really good feeling. And since we are growing this organization to 400, this is a great way to do it. Because I look at it, there's two ways that you're growing your company on a weekly basis. Number one, if you're creating more volume in your personal circle or in your group somehow. Okay? Or number two, you're growing your potential partnerships. Right? Because I look at it now, unless I've got a guest coming to Thursday, what did I really do? Did I really do anything to move my company forward? Now, if you're doing what it takes to get a guest here, you should not feel bad about that. Because anytime that we were doing activity and not seeing the result, it's like, you know what? I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm on track to make this happen. So the results are coming. They belong to me and I own them. Make sense? You should always feel good about your company and you should adjust your mentality. Because a lot of us, what we do is we allow the surrounding people, the people that we love, and our coworkers, and anybody that we give access into our life, you know what we do? We allow them to put us in a straitjacket mentally. And that's what's called a mindset. And see, a lot of us have a mind that is set on something. And for some of us to get that mind that was set on something, like creating an active-based income, to change, to create a passive income, it's such a small change, but in your mind, the way it is set in the past, you think it's a whole lot more change than what it really is, and it's not. And now you know why that Google Doc is going to sit there right in front of our face every single week. So we can go on. I mean, Sanjar and Whitney typically have 1 to 2 guests out every single week. And Eddie Vichinanza would always talk about it. He's like, you guys know as well as I do, you might as well get yourself in the mode of making this thing happen because Sanjar tomorrow morning is going to have his guest on the stinking sheet for next week. And so it's this really good feeling of we need to move our company forward. Cool? So in order to give you the instructions on how to load this Google Doc in your phone or any other type thing, the smartest man on the planet in the technologically advanced area, help me welcome Mr. Techno, Nate Cook.
That's Dave's nice way of saying nerd. So you guys all got your message, I assume, with the link on it. A lot of you guys have probably already figured it out. One easy way to do it is if you're actually on your computer, is you just click the link, right? And then it'll just open up and it'll work out. You probably do need a Google account, but I think everyone has a Google account. If not, get off your fax machine and get with the times, all right? So you'll go in there and you'll put your guest name, invited by, and then the other stuff all over there. In addition, if you want to use it from your phone, you're going to want to download an app through either the App Store or the Play Store called Sheets, right? This is different from the gas station on the way to DC, okay? It's a comparable to like a Microsoft Excel, but it's just Google's version. So it interfaces with this because it is that, and then you can open it from there. One caveat is if you have an iPhone, you should, number one, stop having an iPhone, okay? Yeah, see? Because it will work easier because it's a better phone and whatever. Apple will catch up in 2 years. But what you want to do is, because the way the app works, it opens up in a separate browser, won't auto open it up into the Sheets app. You'll want to copy it, and then you have to paste it into the actual web browser for it to open, so it's an extra step. What you could do down the road is just save the link, and then if you bookmark it, then it should open just normally, but it won't open properly through the app. Am I getting everything right there, Josh, on how that all works? He looks very, very confused. So if you have any questions, ask your upline, and excited for all the growth.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. And you guys are like, you mean you couldn't have explained that? No, I'm laughing because he mentioned fax machine. I actually had somebody say, I need you to send me a fax because it's secure. And I'm like, okay. I just did that today, Nate. So when they're like, why are you having Nate come up? That, yep, right there, right there. All right. So I'm kind of excited about the night out because we're going to talk about how we're growing this organization right here in Grand Rapids to 400. And we're going to do our part to fill coliseums. And we're going to talk about all the people that are going to start going over the top of the bonus scale, and it's going to start to become like popcorn. But I tell you what, we had a very distinct honor and privilege, and I have thanked Bruce probably at least 50 times. And if you don't recall, thank you, Bruce, because he worked something out. So when we had the opportunity to go down to Club Med, first of all, there were not a lot of people there. That should tell you that the doorway is wide open for you to come build your company and come join the leadership, because I believe, based on what I heard, that the next leadership trip along those lines, 650 I believe is what it is going to be back down to Club Med. So get 6 legs, come into functions with 50 people, and come join us at Club Med. But I tell you what it did for me is it really showed me that there is I'll say it's a hole. There is a hole in the executive committee that has your name on it that needs to be filled by you. Okay? Because you look at what URA has done so far, and can you imagine, with all the leaders that we have in the executive committee right now, can you imagine what happens when we double, triple, and quadruple the number of executive committee members? And see, the thing that you have to remember is the fact that we have the exact same business that all of the ECs have. They just decided to capitalize on it in a different way. Maybe they did more activity, whatever. They put together a company where they are now on the executive committee. Well, guess what? You can do the exact same thing. So while we were down at Club Med, one of the amazing opportunities we had is, first of all, Dave DeSalt said, anybody wants to come over to our new place and check it out, feel free. Otherwise, we can play some pickleball. And we're like, right, yeah. Let's see, should we go to a 23-acre estate, brand new place, or should we play pickleball? Yeah, I think we'll come check out the house. Yep. So he invited us out there to go check that place out, and that's pretty amazing. We'll share some of the stories there. But then I get a text from Bruce, and it was forwarded from John Crow, and it was an invitation for us to come up and see their palace in the sky. Their 5,000 square foot condo that's on the 11th floor looking over the ocean on one side and looking over the sound on the other. And I tell you what, just to have that opportunity, we were trying to work it out so that Sanjar and Whitney and the two of us could go all at the same time, and it just didn't work in all of our schedules. So John and Jenny Bell Crow made a special exception, moved one of his PT appointments so that we could go up there by ourselves. And I'm like, first of all, it's ridiculous that we would get the invitation. Second of all, it's ridiculous that they would move their schedule around to make this happen. But I'm like, we're going to capitalize on this and take this dream back to every single person and give them the opportunity to realize that what you're going to see in these pictures and these videos was put together with the exact same vehicle that you have your hands on. And I believe that you are going to see a vision and a dream that'll get planted in your heart from seeing what you're about to see here, that you will realize that you can accomplish 100%. But in the past, you may have talked yourself out of it in one way, shape, or form, or thought you could accomplish something similar in some other way. And I think you're going to get your head rearranged by seeing this video tonight. So are you ready? All right. Are you ready to change the way you think? See, because you can make an amazing amount of money and still have an active-based income. And you can convince yourself that that's acceptable, or you can live a lifestyle that's on a completely different dimension. And so thank you, Bruce and Jamie Bush, for making it possible for us to go and visit with John and Jenny Bell Crow. But if you guys don't mind, if you want to shut down the lights so we can see these pictures and videos. And Mr. Cameraman, if you want to get as close of a view on that so everybody else can see it, that would be awesome. Thank you, Robbie. All right, so here's what I want you to do. First of all, you remember that you have your hands on the exact same vehicle. Second of all, if you see us in there, see you. You got it? Because I'm an independent business owner, what are you? So you got the exact same business, you get the exact same invitation, right? So see yourself in these pictures. Somebody got gas? I hear something. That's Spirit, the everlasting dog. This is a little video.
This is not his room. He can't come in.
That's where his,
Wow.
That's where the kids sleep when they come.
You gotta do like an S hook and pull it up higher.
You've got to see the
Well,
gold
we've been
sink.
praying for you diligently the last couple months.
Solid gold sink.
Yeah.
I've had hips replaced left side.
That's what everybody needs.
But you know, God's got a plan for this.
You
and-
better. I
and-
told them that.
But you look at, this is a short-term price to pay for another 20, 30 years. And we want that back. And it's like, okay, I know like a month or two seems like eternity, but it's like, we want you around. Your face urges with a diamond.
I know.
Like, we need you to be healthy. So we need another year.
You better hurry.
You have a diamond now.
Please get married.
You have a girlfriend yet? We need to find a... I know.
You heard your story about Miss Jesus, right?
Yes, there's been a few of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, God's got a plan for him too. Yes.
Hey, David, you can see where she sits out there.
But I do need a
In the morning out there.
Over here?
That's where she sits. Takes her Bible study out there in the morning and watch birds. We actually watched a penny there. Get painted. Pull the painting out. There's wall moves there with teeth.
So you saw that painting he was talking about? They watched him finish that painting. That painting was $30,000. And John Crow, he's always trying to talk people down and get a better deal, right? And so he's like, come on, can you help me out? Give me some sort of discount. He goes, it's $30,000. He goes, so what if I paid you cash? Then your cash would be $30,000.
It's still got stuff in it, but all the neat stuff. This is. And she brought some funky furniture there. For
This is the other side. So you saw
gotta
the
have
ocean
funky
side.
furniture, though.
Now this is the sound side.
You see
How
the
many
custom
separate
table in the
little
living room
porch
here?
areas do you have out here?
Well, this is the
You gotta walk and see along them.
That's exactly another.
This is amazing, Jenny. Does it feel like home now?
The view is in the morning.
Everybody needs a view from their bedroom, like this. Now we're back on the ocean side.
You know that goes
all the way down. That's what Dave was saying. Is it okay to go in here?
Yes, sir. There's your sauna right there ahead of you.
Everybody's got to have their own sauna. Right there, their own sauna.
Craziest thing, when the therapist came, checked me out. She was amazed at that long therapy mat there. And a rail to walk on your own rail, therapy rail. So when the therapist comes, they love this room.
So just so you guys have an idea, the former owners had 2 condos, and they took the wall out and made it into 1 condo. So it's 5,000 square feet. So what happens is, on the east side is the ocean, right? So the sun rises and sets in the west. So you can see the sun rise on this side, sun comes over, sets in the west, and you can have it coming directly in the windows on the other side because that faces the sound. Is that amazing? You guys realize you have the exact same company that he has? Ladies, are you picturing what your kitchen is going to look like? Isn't that an amazing place to sit, read, sleep, whatever? This is one of the closets. Everybody should have a closet like this. Wow.
One of her closets. Yeah.
One of the closets.
Yeah. Or the association somebody said, "You're going to own 4 other homes." Yes, sir. On 4 homes, yes, sir.
You heard what he said, right? 4 other homes. And by the way, I just got to give credit where credit is due. Nate and Andrea Cook said, "Come on over," and I just handed him my phone, and he put together this whole video. So would you give Nate and Andrea Cook a round of applause, please? Thank you, Nate. So that table, that piece of glass is so heavy, they decided just to leave it, the former owners, but there was no base to it. They took the base. So they just kind of made a base out of driftwood, specially designed. Yeah, make something that can hold this really heavy piece of glass up. That's what they came up with underneath that. I'm like, that's pretty sweet looking. Oh, I can imagine that.
Yeah, that's at the same time. No.
And that other one, but this is where, I can't roll him out here now, so we can watch this. Well, this is right across the street from Elliott. So this isn't totally covered.
So could you get a little ramp somewhere? Okay, here's Jenny Bell. Wave.
Hi.
All right, everybody. We are on the balcony. Oh my goodness. Here's little Spirit. She's 1,000 years old. Yes, the crow's dog who won't die. The everlasting, never-ending balcony with the everlasting dog. Oh my goodness. We've seen this on the app. It's not the same as in person. Oh, and there's little people way down there. Way down there. There's people on their beach. Incredible. Look at this view. Wow.
This is on the sound side. So really, I've never seen any videos of this whole side. Got to have a golf course right out your condo balcony. The other night, Nate's looking at this closet, and he's like, and this closet is worth more than my house. So Jenny Bell's taking us through certain areas, and remember seeing the sauna? And she looks at us and she goes, "Who in Florida is going to sit in a sauna? That's our luggage storage."
Dave is opening the palm tree. Dun dun dun! And there's TV hiding behind it.
Behind the coconuts.
Oh my goodness. That's the perfect cover. I love it.
So cool.
Amazing. Amazing.
Watch all their.
So by the way, they had that all designed. So they had the artist picture, whatever you call it, the artwork. So they're like, well, we'd like that in front of a TV. So they took whitewashed barn wood, and they had somebody come in and just build it. Isn't that cool? What do you want? How big can you dream? What do you want done? You guys realize it's the same company? Same company. Are you seeing yourself in these pictures? You should be. Same company. All right. So now we had the opportunity, the privilege of going out to Dave and Kristen DeSalt's new place. And so what you have to keep in mind, he just bought this place like 3 months earlier. So it was originally listed at $2.6 million. And you know Dave DeSalt, he got a deal. And I'll just kind of take you through. There's 23 acres. And he was talking about how he really likes this kind of palm tree and then the taller one that's a little bit thinner. I'll show you in a second. But he's already moved a bunch of those palm trees, and what he did is he found out that they have a really good lighting system so that you can project the lights up underneath the trees. And he really likes Hawaii, so he's looking at making it into kind of like a resort feel. So I think he said he spent like $40,000 just on the lighting so far, and he's only done one small part of it. Isn't that wild? And he's been in for 3 months, and he spent an additional $300,000 in the 3 months that they've been here so far. All cash. The down payment was cash. As soon as they closed, paid it off with cash. You guys realize you have the same company? Lisa likes those palm trees too. There's Dave starting to give us the tour. There's a garage. Thought you should see that. Got to have a pool table. Now, I want to draw your attention to this. Do you see this area right here? And you see just beyond it, there's a tennis court. So they've already built one tennis court. Here are going to be the clay courts. Okay? So the home that we're looking at are 14-foot ceilings, 7,500 square feet, and this is eventually going to be the guest home. I mean, everybody should have a 7,500 square foot guest home, right? And so what he's planning on doing is when they build their home, they're going to have a driveway that comes in that's lined with palm trees. And he was talking about moving the palm trees, and he's planning on moving about another 40 palm trees, and each one of the palm trees to move it is $2,500. So most people are like, I'm going to spend X amount of dollars in my house. Well, he's spending $100,000 just to move palm trees. Did I tell you guys got the same company? Remember the ceilings? It's pretty amazing when you have the opportunity to be in the presence of the executive committee and Dave DeSalt's house, and we're just walking through, and you have the realization the whole time that these people are exactly like you with the exact same company. Did I mention to you that you have the exact same company? There's their luggage storage. What's amazing to Lisa is that they can be in the place for 3 months and they've got all this stuff on the walls already. There's Dave telling stories. Trying to get a picture without his arms moving is an impossibility. But you know what's so cool is to see how excited he is about the future and the dream, because I'll show you a couple things here in a second. You know, how cool is it that you have a leader that has got so many different things going on in his life, but yet wants to take the time to share part of their dream, which builds your dream, so you can build your company and you can help URA fill coliseums. Isn't that awesome? There's the screened-in swimming pool. Here's part of the 23 acres out here. Currently, they lease a chunk of the land to dairy farmers, so they got a bunch of cattle roaming around. It's pretty interesting. Here are some of the palm trees that got relocated. Here's his storage garage that you can fit a motorhome in, and the jet skis and the pickup truck that he's got. And you know when he's sending out the app messages, he's got all of his workout equipment right inside there. That's where he sends the app messages from. It's bigger than what it looks from here. So you see this area here, where this is where the clay courts are going to go. Then there's the court that exists right now, and on the other side of that, they're building an 11,000 square foot conference center. Did I tell you it's the same company that you got your hands on? So 11,000 square foot conference center, 7,500 square foot guest home. Oh, and we're still going to build the house. Dave's explaining all the plans. Now you see that it's a little bit bigger than what it looked like it was. He just had the floor all redone with this particular special way that you can do things, and he's describing, yeah, you gotta see how these guys do it. It's pretty amazing. I mean, it's really a process. And I'm looking at this going, wow. It was amazing. There's another side view. My phone kept going, how do you want me to get this all in one picture? It's going to make it look like it's smaller than what it is. But it was trying. There's the tennis courts. He borrowed these from Amway in Hawaii. Okay, so he asked for them. They gave them to him. Well, okay. That's the pond they had made. So it was a little bit swampy, so they decided, yeah, let's just throw in a pond. I think it was a 9-foot alligator that was in there, and they were coming back to the house one time, and they were driving out, and they see this 9-foot alligator in the back of a truck. So one of the neighbors had seen it, so they called conservation, and they came in, and they just take them out. And I'm like, well, that's cool. I guess they deposit them somewhere where they want alligators. Alligator farm, I don't know. Petting zoo. They're going to put another 20-acre pond in on the other side when they start their other house. You guys realize that it's the exact same company that you guys have? Thank you, guys. So just to wrap this up, hopefully you got a picture about the fact that the executive committee, Dave DeSalle, John Crow, these people are exactly like you. You know what I mean? They made a decision to allow their mindset to be changed in a different direction. Because you think about, what is platinum? We're going to talk about a number of people that are in the process of wrapping up platinum and what that's going to look like. And we're going to talk about how we're growing this Grand Rapids team to 400 and beyond in the Night Owl. But I tell you, when you think about what is platinum? Well, it starts off with making a commitment to changing the mindset, right? So step one is getting your ticket to West Virginia, right? So you got to make sure that you got your ticket to West Virginia. The next thing you do is you make a commitment to a 300 PV personal circle on the 1st, right? It's a process that you learn step by step through mentorship on how to create that. And then all we do is we go Fast Track 1500, because Fast Track 1500 is just simply identifying 4 people. I'm looking at it. You can do this at any time. There's plenty of people doing this a whole lot faster, but we just made the commitment that we're going to bring on 12 new legs. A number of them are going to be in Tampa, but there's going to be a few of them in Grand Rapids. And so, like within a 2-week time period, we've already identified 2 of those 12. And I'm thinking, if we can, in a 2-week time period, identify 2, how long is it going to take you to identify 4? Or won't your mind that used to be set in a direction of I can't do that, won't it allow you to think in a different direction? We just chose to think in a different direction, and we just realized that we can bring on 12 in a very short period of time. So if all you need to do is bring on 4 plus you, that's Fast Track 1500. Well, what's Platinum? Isn't it 5 of those Fast Track 1500s? That's really what it is, right? And then we identify leaders, and we do 5 Fast Track 1500s in 6 legs, and that is Diamond. Do you realize how simple this is? It's identifying people that are hungry enough for mentorship that they will allow themselves to be subjected to a conference where you can get multimillionaire mentality, change the way you think, so no longer do you have to try to figure out how to make things work in a lack environment. You can now live an abundant lifestyle. Just by putting yourself in multimillionaire mentality mode at a conference like West Virginia for Spring Leadership, developing a 300 PV personal circle, identify 4 people that have a forward-thinking, out-of-the-box mentality, and mentoring them to do 300 PV. It can't get much more simple than that. You know what complicates it? Is the mentality that we got in the process of learning how to create an active-based income. Because if you think about it, a passive income is so much more simple than an active-based income. All we have to do is identify the right mindset. Sometimes we trip ourselves up in the process of the identification. And if you think about it, it's really a simple process. They're either going to make it through the process or they're not. So let's enjoy the journey of identifying, man, who's it going to be that's coming along with me? Because this is going to be an amazing journey. And I don't care what I've experienced in the past, because guess what? I've got a new foresight as far as the vision is solidified. It is crystallized as far as what we're doing. And I know that Diamond is a done deal because I've never seen it more clearly. You know why? Because I realize I have the exact same company that John and Jenny Bell Crow do. I have the exact same company that Dave and Kristen Dussault do. I have the exact same company that creates the exact same results that they do. All I had to do is get the vision of the fact that I own Diamond. It is a done deal, and all we have to do is walk out, do the work, and receive the harvest. And guess what? You've got the exact same thing we do. When is it going to be your time to change your mindset and realize you've got the exact same business, and all you got to do is get up off of it and get on with it, get this thing done, and let's grow this organization to 400 and beyond. Let's get it done now. Have a good night.
the next portion. We trust that you know what the parameters were for tonight. I don't have them in front of me, but yeah, fill the front. All right. Say that again.
Did you want the parameters to pull up? Or
No, we're good. Thank you. If you're wondering, just check with a mentor. All right. Well, I like this. I don't know if anyone else, I like to recognize things. I like to sometimes over dive into details, but I'm not a detail person. It's a messed up world for me sometimes. But I will tell you this. We've been in business for 16 years, I want to say. And I've never seen or experienced, and I'm not saying they weren't there. You know, there's a student, when the student is ready, the teacher appears situation that happens too. But I have never felt more fresh or seen more freshness or felt more freshness from the T-rollers. And I will tell you, I am pulled, right? John Crow gave a talk at a Silvers meeting one time about the difference between being drawn and being driven. And people that are drawn are the ones who build big companies. And I am 1,000% drawn to this man and this couple. So being appreciative is an understatement, as you guys said when you were up here. There's not a lot of words, and there doesn't need to be, but there's that feeling, and I know we all feel it. And so we appreciate that. So let's buckle up and really let them dig in. So help me welcome back up Dave T-Roller.
Thanks, brother. All right, appreciate it, man. All right, thank you, guys. Thank you, Matt. Matt, you mind getting an account? Thanks, man. So this is the crew. You guys are the ones that made the decision to qualify. Isn't that cool? Feels good, doesn't it? I always like to look around and see who's got the guts to build their company and not suck their thumb and play another video game. Love it. I just wanted to get a 51? Sweet, thanks, man. I just wanted to get a, and you guys know the conditions for a night out, right? If you stay, it's your fault, right? So if you take offense, you have no right in taking any offense because you stayed. So if you hear the words, it's your fault. Got it? Okay, good. So the video game comment, hey, wear it. There's a lot of people that they are so good at their video game that they're going to dominate the world and become the champion Magahoogaha. And then they're going to walk around their apartment and they're going to go, yes, I did it! I did it! And then they can't make their car payment. And I think sometimes people just have their head in the wrong direction. Thankfully, you guys don't. And that's why I'm excited about breaking this log jam that used to be in some of your heads. Okay? Because we've got a number of organizations that are moving on, and it's just a matter of allowing the clock to tick before those groups go over. Once they go over, we're going to start having popcorn. And I see it clearly. So we're just going to talk about a couple things that are going on, and then we're going to talk about how we're growing to 400. You guys good with this? Are you guys feeling a pleasant uncomfortableness about what's taking place in Grand Rapids? Mm-hmm. And that's why it's like when people say, well, what's going on in Tampa? The same thing that's going on in Grand Rapids. The cool thing is when you see the Kellers and the Vichinanzas and Sanjar and Whitney leading from the front consistently, it is very wonderfully uncomfortable. You follow what I'm saying? And that's why I wanted to find out, based on just what they're keeping track of down there, who wants to get wonderfully uncomfortable along with us. Because that's where we are every single day. Not week, every day. We get up when we're in Florida, and it's like we're kicking our butt going, okay, V's, Kellers, and Shadievs already have guests. We got to go find ours. Follow what I'm saying? Aren't you doing the exact same thing? And it's a beautiful feeling, isn't it? All right, so, by the way, I was going to bring this up during the plan. Tomorrow when I land, Lisa's picking me up, and we're going directly over to Whitney Shadiev's retirement party, her freedom party. It's a surprise, so don't tell her. Okay? So I just share that with you because of the fact that freedom is real. Freedom is real. No matter what your brain has been telling you, freedom is real. All right? So I'm just going to share with you a couple of groups. Just because I may not call up your group doesn't mean I'm not believing that you're part of the popcorn and part of the group's going over platinum. Because I figure if you're here, you're going platinum. You guys heard how simple platinum is, right? It is really that simple. The only complication is what takes place between the two ears. Don't complicate it. Keep it as simple as what it is. Cool? All right. So thank you, Adam Dirksen, because one of the groups, and I'm hoping you guys can see this because I know you guys in Fort Wayne and Texas and Utah are all joining us, and Tennessee. But this is John and Deanna Thompson's organization, temporarily. And so you can see what's going on with, here's what happens. You know, because some of the people have asked, when counsel with Dave DeSalt, what questions was he asking? He's looking for who's in the game and who's bringing on firewalls. Do you understand what I mean by firewalls? Who's bringing on their own personal width? That's what he's looking for. Do you see some firewalls taking place? So what happens is that some of the leaders are going to be the ones that are developing the width. You see that starting to take place down here? A little bit over here. You can see some of it over here, some of it over here. You see what I'm saying? That's a 6,000 PV group. When do you think they're going over? By March. Right? Now, how does that happen? Well, we know that by building depth, the volume dominoes out of depth, so it increases by building depth. So the natural thought process is, I need to build depth. Well, that's a nice thought, but actually you want to do two things. Number one, the primary thing is you want to build width, bring on more personals, because personal momentum precedes group momentum, right? And see, a lot of times what happens is people are trying to do, what Bruce always says, has said this a number of times, a lot of people are trying to do too much with too few. You know, because what I like to do is say, okay, draw out your group, erase the first two legs, and tell me all about what you got going on. Are we going to have anything to talk about? You know what I mean? And if that's the scenario, then let's bring on some real width, because chances are the next batch of width that you bring on may be the part that actually goes platinum first, and the group that you've been planning on is the one that kicks in after the fact. Does that make sense? So you look at John and Deanna Thompson. These guys are in huge mode to build because they've got a baby coming anytime. I don't know exactly. Anybody know when they're due? Lisa would know. But I always try to keep track of that stuff, and I'm like, a kid will appear in the world. Life will be had. So these guys are doing a great job bringing on additional width, and these guys are doing a great job leading. I mean, when you think about it, Craig and Amber, first of all, they've got kids, right? Anybody that has children, you know what the time constraints are with children. Very worthwhile, but nonetheless very time consuming. Would you agree? Then they're running a business briefing, and their personal momentum is huge, right? And they're excellent mentors to the people in their organization. And so based on that, from what I understand, this couple right here kind of got fired up, and they're starting to bring on more width. And so that's probably going to make some people feel a little bit uncomfortable. So how long do you think it's going to be before that part of the organization's over the top of the bonus scale? So you look out and you say, okay, well, Thompsons are most likely by end of March be over the top of the bonus scale, March, April. Do you think Craig is going to sit there and go, wait a minute, my upline just went over the top of the bonus scale. I don't want to be too far behind. So what do we give them, April? Do you see where the multiplication is going to start to increase? When people start hearing about other people going over the top of the bonus scale, what does it do? Translation, when you see the guest list and you can access it from your phone and you already see that people in your group have guests, what does it do for you? Hello. Motivation factor suddenly is a lot higher, isn't it? Okay? See, all I'm showing you, a lot of people think that a 6,000 PV leg is a whole lot more than this. Do you see how simple this is? It's extremely simple. It's a 300 PV personal circle, and let's go vet some candidates. And let's go fast track 1,500, and let's repeat. Get it? Anything else that clouds that is your mindset. You need to get your mindset out of the way. You just need to see a crystal clear vision. Did I tell you guys that you guys have the exact same business as what Dassaults and Crows have? Did I mention that tonight? I just want to make sure. So, Jack, why don't you come on up here, and on the other side, draw out your group, okay? And we're just going to talk about some of the things that are taking place. I would have John and Deanna come up here and talk, but they're a little bit south. I'd have Cragos talk, but you've seen him talk before, and you get the idea. He's going to be like, I'm a Marine, and we will knock anything down. We will conquer. I'm a platinum. This is a done deal. Now, deepen the voice, broaden the shoulders, right? And be a little bit more intimidated, because he'd be like, sorry, Cragen. So, let's see. Logan, why don't you come on up here and talk about a couple of things that are going on your team. You can give him a round of applause. What are you doing personally?
Right now, I have probably 4 personals in just personal momentum in the process right now between step 3s and, well, actually like 6. It roughly depends, you know. There's some individuals going through the personal process. Obviously, we've got Dallas bringing on more width, and Alex is bringing on her first personals too. Also, it's just cool because you have leaders that are leading from the front. You know, Mark and Laura are bringing on their own width too, and it's cool because you're doing it. So it's like it starts from the leaders, and it literally is just cool to see all of us doing the same thing. I think it's cool to see the impact you can go out there and make just by having a conversation with people, and they start to appreciate, you know, the opportunity you're giving them. And I think the enemy has a lot to say about that, but it's our time now, and it's time to disregard what they would say our head is saying, and go accomplish your goal and go accomplish your vision that's out there. I think that's what I'm doing right now. And it's been there the whole time. It took a lot of growth.
How many personal step 1s do you have in the last 2 weeks?
I've had eight personal step 1s.
Okay. So how are you changing and growing?
I still to this day have not read or listened to 2 audios every day.
Okay.
And showed up to everything.
Why did you go to Livonia last night?
Because you were there. You're not here, so I need to get around you as much as I can to get the platinum thought process, because I'm not platinum yet. I will be. I am a platinum, but I need to get the thought process of a platinum to be a platinum too. So that makes sense. I had a blast last night. It's just cool to get around Dave. I mean, it's that one audio they talk about, never get too, it's Brian McGrath that just came out this month, where he talks about not getting too close to your upline because you lose what he's actually saying. And I think we all can sometimes take for granted that we have such amazing leaders in this room, that we get so close to them, and we get so, just having the blessings of so many platinums in this room, that we kind of fall dead of the ear on what they actually have to say and the knowledge and the fruit on the tree. But yeah, it's definitely refreshing coming back. You especially just hearing that Tampa is just, the leaders are leading. I asked Davis, so what's the difference? And then I'm like, I just answered my own question because I immediately thought of it. Not self-counseling, though.
So what did we learn about self-counseling?
Don't self-counsel. And talk to Dave. Ask him a question.
So what does self-counseling look like?
Dave, so how do you go fast track 1500? Oh, I already know how to do that, though. That's self-counseling. How do you drive depths, Dave? Do you add here? Do you add there? That's self-counseling.
So Logan would ask a question, and he's like, okay, so I know in order to go platinum, what I need to do is, so he would answer his own question with what he needs to do next according to what's in his head.
Yeah, oops.
And I go, that's amazing. How many times are you going platinum? I go, the counsel that you give yourself is pretty awesome. And if it was the right counsel, it'd be amazing.
It's cool. It's cool to get around you,
and don't get me wrong, it's nothing about getting around me. Quite honestly, what it is as we're in the mode to bring in additional candidates, your mindset just, you see things differently. It's like your head gets lifted above the forest, and you're like, oh my gosh, the scenery is amazing. I want everybody to see this. Shouldn't have been yelling earlier.
I'm glad you did.
Yeah, it was good yelling.
It does. Yeah.
So tell us about, okay, are you proud of Dallas?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Why?
Because the growth, he's focused not on results, but he's focused on who he's becoming in the activity mode, and who he's becoming in the process of Diamond and not Diamond itself. But I tell everyone, because I told Gabe, I said, what's our focus? 10 no's. 10 no's. I have them circled. I said, circle them all. Put an X through them. Yes! He was actually celebrating the no's. But it's failing forward and loving the process and who you're becoming in it. So same with Dallas. That's where he's getting it from, is who he's becoming in that process. And obviously just going out there and experiencing it for yourself. And he stopped self-counseling. That's what he did? Oh my gosh! He was self-counseling. I was doing the same thing I was doing. Duplication. That's bad duplication, though. Don't do that.
See, this is good, having Logan talk, because there's some revelation going on.
I knew this would happen. Yeah, but it's cool. It really is. It's cool to see so many of us. It's besides the point. It's just cool to kind of be a running partner and have someone run with you. We have this little Google Docs thing that we have a point system on it's hidden, but we're striving to beat each other, I think, right now. So we know it's just fun.
Are you proud of Alex?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Why?
Because, it took a different mindset. She was actually a part of other things before this. And so it was just cool because she had to do a transfer of thought process. That this isn't one of those rinky-dink network marketing companies where you hype up, sign up, right? And you get someone in and you tug them along in the process. It's like, we don't want that. We want quality candidates coming through the process. But she's been diving into her A and B list and really vetting candidates and understanding that, just going through the no's and going through the failures. Everyone fails. It's okay. just keep doing it. Just keep doing it and just stay consistent with it. And just keep doing it and stay consistent with it and persistent with it. And it's going to work. It's just a matter of time. And that time is your growth. So,
Alex, are you growing in the process? Why don't you share with us what changes are going on? No, like come on up here and take the microphone out of Logan's hand.
A lot of no's and disqualifying. I don't know how many. I would say probably 10 since I started. I'm gonna stop counting because it doesn't matter. When you said tonight, like it's the same business, it kind of clicked with me. I was like, they're getting the same no's, they're getting the same disqualifying, they're getting people and their family telling them they can't. And so it's not just the success that is the same, it's the no's too. So that's probably the biggest learning curve for me. Why? Dave. That's good. Why? For me, I always did things for other people, like in school, in everything. It was always for other people. And I think it's hard to say we're doing something for ourselves sometimes. And this is for me, but it's for what it's going to create for my future family. And just to prove to myself that I can do something bigger than myself. I call it untapped potential. Like that's why I get emotional, because I have all this untapped potential coming out. Like screaming, like, let me out. So that's why just impact and understanding that I have that capability right now to do that. Why? Yeah. Thanks.
All right, so let's do this. Mark, why don't you come on up here, erase this side, and then we will have you draw out your group. And then we'll talk about this one. Pollard's really like 5,000 PV for some reason. So Jack, why don't you come on up here while Mark is drawing out his group and tell us what's going on. You can tell he's an author because authors would type things into a computer and you'd never have to try to read this.
I apologize for my handwriting. I should have been a doctor with the way that my handwriting is. But yeah, we're just really excited. Everyone, it's neat because there's a lot of personal momentum that is going to precede group momentum. But Kaylee and I have been super fired up lately, just making sure that we're going out and then making sure that we're qualifying for the additional training that was the extra kick in the butt that we needed, because we do have a couple members of the team over to our apartment for phone team, and it'd be really awkward if we had to kick them out because we didn't qualify for the additional training. And then, yeah, Sam and Steve, Taylor, they're just on a whole new tear right now. Super proud of them. He interrupted me like 3 different times a couple weeks ago when I was trying to contact people, and like I'd take a step and like he like swooped in out of nowhere. But yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. Everyone is just excited and ready to move forward because we see that you're moving forward and we definitely don't want to be left behind. And we're just excited that we have so many members of our team represented here tonight. And then we also have no doubt that Cy and Sherilyn and Logan and Kira out in Texas and Utah would have qualified as well, because they're just out on a tear right now.
They're actually qualified and they're watching you right now.
Hey, guys.
So why don't you bring Steve and Sam up here and have them tell us what they're...
Sam and Steve, come up here.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Steve. Tell us what you guys have going on. Jack, I didn't say you could sit down. Thank you.
Well, we have a few things going on.
First of all, why are you building this business?
I feel like, Alex, it's such a loaded question because there's so many answers. I'll give it to you in an image. I don't like mornings. I don't know if any of you like that. Not a morning person. The hardest part of every day for me is getting out of bed and then walking over to the bathroom and then putting my towel from the rack over by the shower and like moving it there, because that means, okay, now I'm actually, once I shower, I don't go back to bed. which means I'm now making the decision. Now I have to leave my wife to go work for somebody else. And I never want to have to make the decision ever again in my entire life.
Got it.
Well, our diamond dream is to move to Korea and have kids there. That's been something that was really big on my heart since undergrad. And so this is really the only way that we've seen that as a possibility. So can't wait too long to go diamond, otherwise I'll be 40 having kids. So, so that's kind of pushed us forward too. And then just like Steve said, there's so many other things that are added into that dream, but that's kind of, when I see an image of what freedom is, it is that, being in Korea in the mountains with our kids. But
So what are you guys in the process of doing? Because I know you guys have been out quite a bit, connecting with people and stuff like that. So what's your, as far as structure goals, what are you working on right now? Point you out on the board, please.
we are this SNS on the left. Pathway to Arrow, I don't remember the word. Overqualifying for Pathway to Arrow is the first step, and then going Arrow this year and on to Platinum, and pushing our mentors, Jane Christie, over the top, being a big part of their Platinum ship as well. Because we know, like you were saying, volume trickles up, and us pushing them over pushes Jack and Kaylee over, pushes this leg over. So we've really been talking about and doing as the action that we know is required to be that taproot for the leg.
I mean, those are really our goals, just bringing on that width and being the example. And I came to the realization about probably 3 months ago, right when we actually started to do stuff consistently, that I realized I had that burn to be part of the varsity team. I know John Crow, I've been listening to the Jetstream audio probably like every day for a couple of months, and he talks about it in that one and a few other audios where he just talks about, I just wanted to have a varsity letter. And I realized that being part of that exclusive group of people that's going somewhere in life, that this is an arena where we can do that. And compared to, when you look at a lot of successful people in the world, people like Elon Musk, you're like, oh, I can't do that because I can't build rocket ships and go to space and stuff. But I can have a conversation with somebody about D&D, which I don't even play, but when I'm free, maybe I will.
Bruce can.
That's true. Do you know what that is? It's fine if you don't. But talking to people about the things that they like is just a part of being human. And I mean, the fact that we can, I think Logan put it really well, I think it was last week, that the fact that we can actually reach out to someone and extend them an opportunity beyond just a fun conversation is a real blessing that we want to take advantage of.
So how do you guys separate your brain from the part that says, don't go out, to going out in this cold weather, knowing the fact that I need to build my company? How do you make that separation of the motivation in here? What gets you out the door?
I make it a physical separation. I just don't go home until I go out and talk to people. And for me, I need to have dinner at a certain time. Otherwise, I start attacking people at Meijer instead of talking to them. So until 7, I don't go home until 7. Then we have dinner, and then I'm out from 8 until 10. And obviously, if we have meetings, those will supersede to some degree over making new friends. But the rule that I've instituted for myself is every day it's either 10 p.m. or 3 new friends, and that's when I call it a day. So if I happen to have a very productive day that day and I get done early, awesome. Okay, I can just go home and get my reading done early and that kind of thing. But if I don't have 3 new friends by the end of that day, then I'm out till 10 p.m., sometimes later, because I'd rather stay out every night later than most people do, so that for the rest of my life I can sleep in while they're going to work.
Give them a round of applause.
Thank you.
Jack, come on over. All right, so tell these guys where you are last month as far as volume-wise. I love it when they look at their wife.
The team, 5,600? We were at 5,600.
Okay, so how many fast tracks is it going to take for you to go over the top of the bonus scale? So Cy and Sherilyn B, and Logan and Kiara B, let's say they both go fast track. What does that do for your organization?
That adds about 1,500 extra PV per person, and that puts us well over the top of the bonus scale.
Do you see how simple this is? 2 fast tracks, they're over the top of the bonus scale. Okay? So they have an option. They can sit there and they can learn from Craig and Amber Crago how to go over the top of the bonus scale because they're very polite and they're like, no, we want you guys to go first. So please, we're holding the door open for you and just show us the way. Or what they can do is they say, hey, Craig, come on over here. Let me show you how to go platinum. Right? Do you see how close they are to 7,500 points? It's not a mystery that we're going to start playing popcorn here. The reason that I'm having, like, Alex come on up, Dallas could come up here, but you'd be like so fired up, you'd be like, Dallas, you should be like a motivational speaker. It's like, I am. I could get a number of different people up here, and you'd be like, why are you bringing them up? Because then you would realize who it is that you're going out to identify that's going to be the next wave in your organization that is going to get in agreement with the vision of the upline to go over the top of the bonus scale. Do you see what I'm saying? This is not a mystery. It's simple. It's so simple. You are not the last person on planet Earth that sees making a passive income as that makes all the sense in the world. And all we have to do is let's dedicate ourselves to a 300 PV personal circle and let's identify 4 people. They have 2 more of those in their organization. They're over the top of the bonus scale. You guys getting this? It's simple. Any comments you want to make?
We definitely can't take any of the credit for the incredible team that we have. Everyone is amazing because of the personal growth that they have, and then also just the dreams that they have that they're making happen regardless of whether we're moving on or not, which is a fun pressure, but we can't take any of the credit for them deciding to move on.
Okay, so here's what I want you to do, because I know for a little while, and we've been here too, so this is not a criticism at all. You guys were pretty comfortable with the group that you had there for a minute, and then you made yourself uncomfortable. So describe the making uncomfortable and what's taking place right now. How did you make yourself uncomfortable and bring on the additional? You're in the process of bringing on the additional width.
Yeah, I guess it's a lot of it has been the fact that Kaylee and I, when, looking back a few years ago, we thought we'd be much further ahead than we are now. And we're tired of the same old revolving door business, and we want to hit the top of the bonus scale because, we believe when that happens that there's going to be a lot of other sharp, young, ambitious individuals that come on after us, whether they're in our team or not, and I believe that that's going to create a whole new explosion, especially in Grand Rapids, which is long overdue, and we're excited for that to happen, but we're just also excited to start, getting debt-free and not having to worry, do we have enough money in the bank, and having those financial burdens, because we're so grateful about the income that we do have right now, but we need more to do what we want to do.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So you look at it. How many people did you have at Winter Conference?
25? 25. She's the melancholy.
That's okay. Hey, you start asking me questions, I'd be like, where's Lisa? So I get it. I do track numbers. Mm-hmm. So you look at it, 25 people, they bring another 10 into this environment. What does that do for everybody? Natural linear thought process says it brings 10 more people into this environment on the way to 400. Exponential thought process says, no, that gets them closer to being over the top of the bonus scale, and as we start hearing more stories about people going over the top of the bonus scale, their team will respond. They'll go over the top of the bonus scale. They'll bring another 25 in here. Then you see them up here as platinums, and guess what? Pretty soon another 100 people show up here. Do you see? We are at the point right now where it's like there's this fuse that has been lit, and it's about to blow up a big, huge stick of dynamite that's connected to, you guys ever seen like the oil refineries, those big, huge holding tanks? Yeah, if you can picture about 35 of those, that's what the dynamite stick is sitting there just waiting to explode. Are you tracking with the visual here? See, if you guys understand how close we are, the fuse is burning. And it's just like, either, like Bruce has said many times, either be part of the explosion or part of the debris. And I know we got a lot of people that are exploding right now. Okay? So, what's your assignment? Because here's what happened. Dave DeSalt said, how many people did you have at winter conference? And I said, 180. He said, all right. He said, 2 functions from now, you should plan on 250. So what I heard him very clearly. At spring leadership, we'll have 250. Isn't that what you heard? And how does that happen? Well, we divided it up. If each organization brings an additional 10, guess what? There it is. Boom. Done deal. Do you see how simple this is? It should be simple in your mind and simple for you too. Does it make sense? All right, give him a round of applause. Nice job. All right. We saved this one. Mark, come on up here and explain what you got going on.
All right, what do you want to know?
What's going on?
All right, actually, a lot of things are going on right now, especially in Logan's organization, which you guys have already just heard a lot of the stories, whether from him, from Alex, from Dallas. I mean, there's stuff popping like crazy. I mean, earlier this week, there was other dotted lines in there that have since disqualified. The dotted lines you see are all people that have been to step 3 or prior and are tracking to earn partnership. And
how many do we have of those?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
So we gave Mark an assignment that they need to add to the numbers 10, right? Listens well. So now you know what it is? He heard me clearly. So they're supposed to bring 20 to the next function.
Yep.
Did you guys hear that? See, here's what's happening. You guys, what's happened to you guys? Because you guys have more personal activity going on than you've had in a while.
Right.
What's going on with you guys?
Yeah, there's honestly, we just kind of got sick and tired and being sick and tired. I think there was a little bit of a revealing thing too when you mentioned you were going to be counseling with DeSalt and you asked us how many people were on membership, how many people attended FED Winter Conference, and how many new IBOs in December and in January. And in my mind, I pictured it was more than it was, but it was stuff that had happened just prior or just after, and there was one person added to the entire organization in December and January combined. And so that was a bit of like, oh man, like honestly, as somebody that wants to perform for their upline, I felt like, wow, dude, here he gets the chance to counsel with DeSalt for the first time, and this is what I send him with, is like, yeah, hey, we're going platinum with this. And so I think that was a bit of an eye-opener too, and then I think having kids around, it's different when they're younger and they're just excited and fired up about like being around the business, but like they're getting older and then they realize that like, hey, like, are we gonna, I mean, we had to break it to them that we're not qualified for Disney 2020, and that sucked. Like, they're like, oh. And then like, we're like, yeah, and you're not coming to New Orleans with us because that's mom and dad for that one. You can qualify for the next family one. But so I think that like they're enjoying having the environment we've created with you, having phone team at our place and stuff. So that's been, I think, the rising to the level of leadership. I think there was a bit of an eye-opening too. When we went 4,000 in December, we were gone half the month, and that was our biggest month ever in business. So I think when you see that, like, that's when you could see the quality of like leadership starting to rise, and you see people like, oh, well, they can't really like do stuff. I mean, at that point, Logan had already been doing stuff, but like he had a lot of new things going on. I was like, all right, dude, like you better, excuse me, have fun with that. And I mean, we were able to kind of touch base a little bit, but not so much. Like the 6-hour time change is not the easiest to bounce things back and forth with. Yeah, and this is true. He was house sitting, and like, yeah, it was kind of funny. I had not met Seth yet, and he was like, yeah, I've been at your house like every day for the last week. And so, like, all right, cool there. I mean, we gave him permission. This wasn't by any means. I don't want anybody to think that he was just bringing people to our house without our permission. So
You invited me too. I get it. I get it. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That one, though, Cody just registered today, was here at the briefing.
He's fired up.
He's super fired up, and all of a sudden, he's like, oh, hey, by the way, I decided to do an order today as well on top of the registration. I think he's like at 137 points. So we're excited to do more of those. This one is Laura's best friend from college that we showed the plan to 13 years ago. and I think bought one thing as a customer one time. Didn't hear squat from her, and she literally texted Laura out of the blue. So, how do I sell Amway? And then she's been tracking
That would
right
be
through
a
the
profitable
process.
check. Can you imagine selling an $8.8 billion company? Holy smokes.
So Laura had to, with proper positioning and like take her through the process, and then she's tracking really well. We're she's in follow-up 1. She lives up in Munising, so everything's been at distance for that one. This one.
They eat stuff up there other than bear and antelope and stuff like that?
No. Yeah, pasties maybe. This one was a candidate out tonight, athletic trainer Casey, super fired up. Again, Laura is contacting sharp people everywhere we go. Yeah, like she's with the orthopedic clinic and stuff that she was at. We had another one that was tracking through step 3, and then now we're revisiting it in June just because there's a whole bunch of life in the way, but is very interested in doing that at a later time. Gabe, is it his, where's Logan? Is that his brother that is kind of, or who, he has somebody that just, okay. Super fired up, yeah. So, it's fun when stuff goes on that you have no idea who it is. Dallas, yeah, just has stuff. Dallas, earlier this week, there were 4 dotted circles. 3 of the 4 disqualified themselves. He's got another fired up candidate ready to go, or considerable, whatever. That's Rachel. She's brand new, so there's
Dallas
a fresh.
is unconquerable. He just
is.
keeps going.
Yeah, and he's changed a ton. Rachel is brand new, single mom, 25 years old. Alex has, a couple of people getting ready to get brought on. Dual income, no kids there. This was a guest out tonight.
All
Actually,
right, so let me interrupt you. Stay right
Yes.
there. You guys see what's happening? So these guys are new 4,000, but do you see all the growth that's coming on? Seriously, you look at all the different potential pockets, and there are plenty more sitting down that I did not call up here. If you're in Matt and Angie's team, I specifically left that out, so if Matt wants to talk about that at some point, that's totally cool. So I know there's plenty of other people that are in the mode of going platinum. I'm not discounting any of that. I know Bruce has other legs that are going the process, but I'm just talking about these just because I highlighted them to you so you could see what the groups look like, so you can start to get a visual in your mind as far as what's it going to be? What's it going to be like when we go over the top of the bonus scale? But so any of these that we've talked about could go at any time. But when you've got this much potential as far as brand new independent business owners that are being extended offers, do you see how this could be the dark horse team that goes over the top of the bonus scale first?
Yes.
That breaks the log jam, that starts the whole popcorn thing.
Mm-hmm.
You follow what I'm saying? See, so if you guys want to start, upping your game a little bit, think about the point that you find out somebody went over the top of the bonus scale and how that burns you, because it proves to you that the exact same company that they have, you've got, and you can do the exact same thing. They just did it before you. So put yourself in that position where you feel that burn right now and go out and do what's necessary to smoke all of them.
Mm-hmm.
You follow what I'm saying? Because like we talked about earlier, you guys are feeling the pull to go and do more. Because you know what? Here's the other part. There were plenty of other people in this room tonight that are fully capable of qualifying for this, but for whatever reason, you chose to qualify and they chose not to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So based on the decision that you make, when you picture that little time period, when you see that message about so-and-so just went over the top of the bonus scale and it's not your name, feel that burn and put that into overdrive right now, because you're going to feel that a whole lot. And you're going to sit there and you're going to go, man, you know what? We kicked this thing in gear and we are right on target and we feel great about the fact that they went. We're going to congratulate them. We're going to be fired up for them. But I'll just tell you this, we are next.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get that attitude, it's going to be amazing what happens, because you're going to see a John and Deanna Thompson go over the top of the bonus scale, and right behind them is Craig and Amber Crago. And right in between that, all of a sudden, Mike and Addie's Weird going. It's like, whoa, how did this happen? And then somebody over here is going over the top of you see what I'm saying? It's going to go one right after the other. And you look at it, it's like, I hope you guys are getting the picture as far as where 400 comes from. It's not sitting here trying to hatch somebody that you're trying to get somebody to do something they don't want to do. It's leading from the front so that you're drafting so that they've got a leadership to follow so they can make their own decisions for their own family. Eric Morris, how many times have I called you on the phone and told you got to do something? 0. All we're doing is we're finding the next couple that says they want to move on. You know why? Because I know he realizes the sense of responsibility he's got for his family and for his kids. And when he makes the decision to separate this from whatever's been holding him back, and I'm saying that with all due respect, with all the kids that you have and all the responsibility and stuff like that, but you know what? They got the exact same business that you and I got. And I continue to remind myself of that. When we're down in Tampa, I remind myself, I'm a brand new person. I got nothing here. Now, that's not my self-talk. My self-talk is we got our 12. We already got them. I don't know about you, but I already got them. So it's not a matter of I'm going to go out and see if I can find somebody. No. I told you we've already got them. I'm just excited about figuring out whose name is going in that circle because we already got them. You see what I'm saying? That's why we're so fired up. We've never seen it more clearly. And all we got to do is do the exact same things that you did to qualify for tonight. Did you notice you got that message on Monday? You notice that? It's like, what happens if you get the message on Wednesday? What happens if it comes out on Thursday? Will you already be qualified? Well, I don't know. What's the work? You know what the work is. Do it every single week. Make sense? Has this been helpful? You guys have gotten some nuggets dropped on you tonight. If you've been hearing, I've been like holding back because I'm like, that's a nugget I wanted you to get. I hope you got it. I hope you're hungry. Bruce, anything you want to add? The leaders are leading. But isn't it cool to be able to have a passive income where you can live a lifestyle like that? I use that illustration to show you what freedom really looks like. So you can do whatever you want to do. Because that speaks to the young guys that are out there playing video games. You follow what I'm saying? No, I'm saying to the guests that you bring, when I'm telling a story about meeting him at the door at 11 o'clock in the morning, that speaks to them going, I could play all the video games that I want to. That's my dream. But you know what? If you meet people where they are right now and you're not smoking them with an attitude, you follow what I'm saying? You meet them where they are and show them and lead them to mentorship. You can take somebody with that mindset that wants to get free, impact a whole bunch of people, and now they can play all the video games they want to, but chances are they won't because they figured out a purpose to live in life. I hope you see, just by simple effort, you start to increase the size of your organization. That's how, I'll just speak as far as our objective. West Virginia, we're bringing 250 people to that function. That is an absolute done deal because everybody knows what their assignment is. And you know what? You can do the exact same thing as far as you set your goal for what your numbers are and be in touch with your upline as far as what those numbers are so they've got an overall number so that they know. Because we will grow. Every 10 people we bring in here, 10 people bring 10 people, that's another 100. Do you see how simple this is going to be? We are going to blow this thing up. We're going to start breaking more business briefings in different areas as we continue to build depth because we're identifying more and more people that are wide open and wanting to create passive incomes and have a backbone to be able to stand against the negativity of other people and build a future for their family that's going to be a legacy and a dynasty that most people will be very desirous of. Do you guys realize that technology comes out, and at first it's like, what do they call it, the early adapters? It goes through a process where it's not that popular in the beginning, but then all of a sudden it picks up. What was it, 16 years before Amazon made a profit? 16 years before Amazon made a profit. And what happened now? Do you guys realize that e-commerce, where you can actually make a profit from your own purchases, it's just starting to catch on? Do you realize that you are in the most desirable industry? How many companies can you start for $240 with the minimalistic overhead that you've got? You don't have to carry any inventory. They do all the work for you, all the partnerships, all the product. They do everything for you. And you don't think people are going to start to figure this out? You're going to look back at this day. Do you remember when we only had
You follow what I'm saying? And you're like, oh my gosh, when is that platinum going to speak again? We haven't heard him in 6 months because we got so many platinums. Hello? Are you tracking what I'm saying? Well, I'll tell you what, I'm fired up for every single person because you remember the fact that you have your hands on the exact same company that the Crows and the DeSalts do. And just think about this. When you guys are getting out of work tomorrow, I'll be landing and heading straight over to another Freedom Party in Florida, where my wife is right now, because we made a decision to build the exact same company that you have your hands on. We're nothing special. We just continue to do the work. You continue to do the work. You'll have exactly what it is that you want, and we can come visit you in your place as long as it's warm in the winter. I'm proud of you guys. I'm excited about the people getting unified with their upline, and I'm looking forward to the popcorn because I tell you what, that log jam is broken in Jesus' name, and we are exploding this entire organization. There are 400 people in the Grand Rapids Business Briefing. There are 60 in Livonia, growing every single business briefing. We've got 100 in Fort Wayne, and we've got 100 in our personal group in Tampa. That is an absolute done deal, and we are fired up about you seeing that manifest in the process as your organization is manifesting too. Have an amazing week and take control of your company, switch your mindset to success mode, and receive your victory in advance. Have an awesome week. We'll see you guys soon.